Welcome back, everyone, to Red Spotlight. I'm Alexis, of course, joined by David Francisco for another installment of the podcast that brings you everything coming out of the world of movies and more. And today we have a couple of reviews on some pretty big movies, and some, I guess, instances, some pretty big bombs, and some bad omens of that. The two big reviews that we have today of films that you may have seen, or maybe not, considering on some of these box office receipts. We've got Toy Story 5, the latest from Andrew Stanton, and of course the minds at Pixar. A film that we've long been talking about. I'm not sure we've been anticipating it, but we've been talking about it a lot. And then, of course, the other one is Supergirl, that is directed by Craig Gillespie, although why that was ever the case, we'll get into that. Those are the big ones, and then we have, I believe David will catch us up on The Death of Robin Hood, is that what it's called? Mm-hmm. And then also Enola Holmes 3. But look, everybody knows right now that as far as movies are concerned, everybody has to drop whatever they're doing and kiss the ring of Christopher Nolan, because apparently he has been declared the overlord, the king of the seven kingdoms. And we all have to stop our entire lives and go to a movie theater and watch whatever he's cobbled together, because that's just an obligatory thing that we all have to do, and we have no choice in it. Yes, The Odyssey, which is a film I think we've all been looking forward to, because it just seems like a classic cinematic blockbuster of sorts, you know? Maybe not in the sense of like a Pirates or Lord of the Rings, but maybe more so like a Ben-Hur or a Lawrence of Arabia. And it's Nolan, he's an amazing filmmaker. I think there's plenty of reasons to be excited about. And of course, I mean, if you recall, a lot of the IMAX screen times for this film sold out a year in advance, if you remember that. So yeah, there are plenty of people who just love his movies, and you know, we're gonna be there too, because how could we not? So we'll be watching it. Reviews have already dropped, and as expected, the reviews are pretty stellar, because apparently Nolan can get away with things that James Cameron can't, apparently. I actually just I'm sorry, I have to be that person, but I saw something this week which was pretty hilarious to me, which is like, I don't recall the context, but it's like basically saying like how in some of the reviews there's been like, while he praised the film, there's been like, you know, mentions of clunkiness, or mentions of, you know what, maybe it needs a second watch for it to really click into place. And this person was saying, well, it's funny how Christopher Nolan gets this benefit of the doubt, but just a few months ago when it came to James Cameron, all of you were like, you know what, there's a lot of clunky dialogue, clunky pieces, you know, it doesn't all come together the first time, and didn't care to go back and watch it again. Interestingly enough, how some people have a particular bias when it comes to some filmmakers. Sometimes they deserve a second viewing, and sometimes they don't, interestingly enough. So, but of course, it's no surprise to me that the film is being praised. It's no surprise that it's, you know, causing all this much attention. And honestly, there are a lot of high hopes because, and we're going to get into it today, there's been a turn, David, that's happened at the box office these last couple of weeks.
Oh, yeah.
You know, we were celebrating the successes, and we still are, of Obsession and Backrooms, by the way, both of which are already, I guess, kind of available to be consumed at home to an extent. I saw that today. A24 put up the pre-order for the Blu-ray for Backrooms. They'll be releasing that themselves. They already have the Blu-ray for the drama, which I'm hearing a lot of praise now, even more than I did back when it was released. And then Obsession is already out on Blu-ray and digital, obviously. So while we were like celebrating those successes, and we were anticipating these big films, but I don't think anybody saw coming what ended up happening. Anyway, we're gonna get into that today. Moana's Disaster is one of the other ones that we'll be getting into, and all that and more on Red Spotlight number 542. I do want to begin though, David, because technically speaking, we did cut you off. This is what happened, and this is what I noticed when I was watching not the last episode we did, but the other last episode. So 2 episodes ago, we were talking about Disclosure Day for the very first time when we saw it. And I noticed that on both episodes, we saved that discussion for last. And in some instances, that may have been a mistake because I was fine because I'm on summer mode right now, so I don't really care what time of day it is. But I understand, of course, everybody else is different. But I noticed that on both conversations, I was the only one who wasn't falling asleep by the very end. And to be fair, there were long podcasts, so I just found it funny how we were talking about that movie both times at the end, and like people were like closing their eyes, and I think that's normal. That's normal. Yeah. So, but what I was gonna say is we had so much to say last time. We didn't get into some of the films that you saw, David. The two that I believe I mentioned last time were The Furious and The Death of Robin Hood. And since you've also seen Enola Holmes 3, so I'm going to go ahead and give you the opening banner here. Go ahead and get into these films. Now, I believe at the time they were in theaters. I don't know if they are anymore. I'm not sure if they've been that successful, quite frankly. Did you happen to find, I know Enola Holmes is a Netflix thing only, but did you happen to find many a crowd when you went to go see these films, or was it pretty empty when you went to go see them?
Pretty empty. Different crowds though for both. Death of Robin Hood had like a lot of.
Oh, David, did you click something? I think you muted yourself. I'm sorry. Or
did I?
Or maybe you didn't. Maybe the connection just delayed. But your picture's fine. But you were talking, and then there was no sound coming out of it until just now.
Oh, okay. Oh, that was weird. I think I might have.
Yes.
Oh, that was weird. I don't know. I did mute it for a bit, but that was way before I started talking. I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway, for Death of Robin Hood, there were quite a bit of old people in that theater, while the Fears had like younger people watching it. So I was just like, oh, that's weird, because both are pretty violent movies too. And I'm like, weird that got different kinds of audiences for these movies. I don't know, but other than that, it wasn't that much of a crowd for both. So I know The Furious for sure was getting a bit of bit of praise. Sorry, for it because, well, I'll get into it on my review about it. But I'll start with Enola Holmes 3, because it's an okay movie. I enjoyed the first two. Like I find to be like cute movies of like the Sherlock Holmes story and all that. It's all fun. This one though might be my least favorite. But a part of it though is just because of like everything everyone talking about with Millie Bobby Brown, with the whole Stranger Things stuff, the way she acts nowadays and all that. And I'm just trying to focus in on like her acting and everything, and it's part of the story. So like I was just a bit distracted by like background stuff, I guess I could say, when watching the movie. So I wasn't looking at it with a fair view. But I mean, other than that, she's still, pretty fun in the movie. I actually really like Henry Cavill as Sherlock Holmes. He didn't have much to do in both movies that he was in, or in all the movies that he was in and all that. But I don't know, just like the idea of him playing Sherlock Holmes is actually like pretty cool to me. But other than that, it was just an okay movie. Just if you watch the first one, you enjoyed it, you might enjoy the rest of them. They're about the same quality.
I mean, that sounds pretty right for a Netflix franchise. Unfortunately, that's just how it goes. They don't really aim very high, and they kind of just aim to do the same thing and not embarrass themselves too much. Although, quite frankly, I think a lot of Netflix franchises, a lot of Netflix films that they make in-house do embarrass themselves, but they don't care because people watch them.
Yeah.
I will say about Millie Bobby Brown, a couple of things. I noticed that too. When Stranger Things was airing the last season, there were a lot of people who, well, by the way, the entire cast, I think, was catching a lot of stray shots thrown at them for a lot of reasons. Let's be real about that. It had final season syndrome in the sense that people just turned on it. I will defend season 5 as it was a good season. It was, it was very easily the weakest season of the 5, but I thought it didn't embarrass itself. It didn't ruin the show. You know what final season did ruin the show for me? Was Game of Thrones. That's the one where it's like, it didn't just be a disappointing final season. It nuked the entire series for me.
Mm-hmm.
Like, getting yourself to watch that show again, knowing where it ends? No. But what I did notice is there were a lot of people who were like trying to say that Millie Bobby Brown's acting abilities have been harmed due to what they claim is excessive cosmetic surgery or bad cosmetic surgery. Look, I'm not here to like judge what people want to do with their faces or their bodies. That's their choice, obviously. I will tell you, I've never had a situation where cosmetic surgery, I feel, has gotten in the way of an actor doing what an actor does. But I've noticed that people lately have been bringing this up because, you know, you and I talked a lot about the peculiarity of some of the criticisms, not just of season 5 of Stranger Things, but also Disclosure Day.
Yep.
And this is how I'm going to connect them. Emily Blunt, I noticed, got some interesting comments, not necessarily like critiquing the performance, but saying that it was distracting for some viewers because supposedly she doesn't look how she used to look, in the way that they feel that whatever cosmetic surgery she had was so distracting to the point where it affected how they felt about her performance. I never once thought about cosmetic surgery when seeing Emily Blunt or Millie Bobby Brown on screen the entire time. Now, did I notice that Millie Bobby Brown had a different energy with season 5? Yes, but I do feel in part that was part of the point, right? That character was carrying herself a lot more subdued, right? I think that was part of the writing, maybe not the acting, but you tell me what you think.
No, yeah, for sure. That was definitely a part of the acting. And I definitely did notice that with Disclosure Day, with Emily Blunt. Like, I would not have noticed that she might have gotten something done or something. Or at least, like, if she did get something done, that it, you know, messed up her acting abilities or anything like that. I would not be able to tell you that. But the thing is, though, like, I don't know if it's just me or it's just every other person saying something different, but like every single time I look at someone's performance and I'm like, either, you know, ranging from it's fine to absolutely great, there's other people who are always bashing it. And it's like, am I not seeing the same thing as you are? Like, I don't understand what's going on here. You know, it's even like on small roles. Like, what was it? It was like some Fast and Furious movie. There was some actor literally behind, oh man, what's his name? The guy from Guardians 2, the villain. Ego.
Kurt Russell?
Kurt Russell. I think he was like I think it was him that was in the Fast and Furious movie.
Maybe.
And
I haven't seen those films, so I don't know.
But there was like some other actor behind him, literally behind him the whole time, just background actor. And I've like heard people say like, oh man, his acting was bad in this movie. I'm like, he was just in the background. I'm pretty sure he was just fine. I don't understand when people like make these kinds of complaints. Like, it's, some don't have to be, you know, spectacular like Jason Momoa in the last the Furious movie, Fast and Furious movie and all that. They can just be in the background just putting out the lines and that's it. It's fine. So I'm always unsure of myself, and that's what was so distracting with when I was watching Enola Holmes 3, because I'm really looking at her acting like I don't see anything wrong with it. I don't think it's like affected her acting, but if she got anything done, I don't know. And then, you know, when you bring up Stranger Things in that whole thing, what I hated the most when people kept talking about it is that they kept using that one picture of her and all that. It's like, that's just bad lighting. Like, literally look at her out in public, in talk shows. Like, she looks beautiful. So like, I don't understand why this whole thing needs to be brought up. And it's like, if she got
I think that right there, real quick, I don't want to cut you off. I think that's a good example of there being a bit of a drop off in quality in that show from 4 to 5, as far as lighting is concerned and VFX. it just did not look as good, anywhere near as good as. And look, the 4th season didn't have the best, but I thought season 4 had some pretty amazing visuals, all things considered. 5, it just seemed like it was.
The last season it
was
varied
there.
because I gave a lot of compliments
Yes.
to when they were on the
Oh yeah, the little like the Mind of Vecna or whatever that little set was.
the one with the scene with Sadie Sink and that little girl.
Yes,
and
yes.
people were comparing
Molly. Was it Molly?
Yeah, Molly.
Holly.
Holly.
Yeah.
People were comparing, season 4 and 5 of that situation. And I was like, 5 is
Yes.
better, people. Don't fucking kid yourselves. Like, season 4, the foreground and backgrounds blend together. It's all gray.
Yeah.
Somehow, even though there's like a lot of red, it still looks grayish. This
Yeah.
one though, it just looked better. I won't get into it again, but again, the lighting though with everything else, it always varied, and it just bothers me. It's like, okay, they clearly just didn't think about, to make her look good in that situation. It was just trying to like, okay, we just need light or something like that. It's just again, for season 5, the lighting varied, but in that situation, they didn't really think. Again, if she got something done, the directors didn't take into account, like how she would look like nowadays or something like that. I think they just pointed the light at her to make sure she can be seen, and then that's it. But it's like, no, you kind of have to take into account how they would look. I think in Ant-Man and the Wasp, the
Which one?
The second one.
Okay.
The actress playing Wasp, she had some gray hairs on her, and the lighting kind of was reflecting off of it and all that, and so they had to adjust for that and everything, just to make it look nice. And so there's all other things. Even back then, there's certain actors and actresses who can tell, like,
You're talking about Evangeline Lilly or Michelle Pfeiffer?
Evangeline Lilly.
Okay. She had gray hair?
It's just it's not really noticeable, but like there was an interview where she was talking about how they were noticing like the lighting was a bit off on her, and then someone pointed out it's because of the grays. And so instead of dyeing her hair, she could have dyed her hair, but she was just like, no, I like my grays. So they just set to adjust around her. And like I was saying too, like some actors and actresses, they know how well they look in certain lightings, and they'll always tell the director too. It's like, put the light on top, I look good in that. And so it can happen. And
by the way, another tangent, and I'm sorry to cut you off. Can we just say I never got a chance to praise Evangeline Lilly. I don't know if you saw about a year ago, sometime in the last year, she came out and stood in solidarity with a lot of the VFX artists that were laid off at the MCU because of Disney's for reasons cuts. And she was in tears, just like, how could they do this? Like, these people worked so hard to build up the MCU. Mm-hmm. Like, they actually did the real work to put it together, and then you tell them to fuck off and say, we don't care about your livelihood, you're out of here. So we never got a chance to actually discuss that on the show because I don't know what was going on, but I did see that video, and I was quite impressed that somebody she's like the only one of the entire cast to actually like say, hey, this is wrong, Disney. What are you doing? So can we just give her due? Just to put that out there. Go ahead.
Yeah, that's cool.
And the other tangent is
no, that's fine.
Stranger Things season 5 is out on 4K Blu-ray. I don't know if you saw, but the complete series. I don't know. Some distributor put out like the whole box set, and it's beautiful. And from what I've been reading, the quality of the show itself is in much obviously higher resolution because Netflix compresses the real like picture quality for like reasons. So if I guess it looks a lot better on the discs, which I mean, that's kind of what usually happens. I might get it. I'm not gonna get it now, but I'm kind of waiting for it to like be on like some kind of sale or whatever because, I mean, like I don't know how much it is, but I'm pretty sure it's like a lot of money.
Yeah.
On that. Anything else, David?
Well, yeah, Enola Holmes 3, it's an okay movie. Like I said, if you enjoyed the first 2, you might enjoy this one. So there's that. And then Death of Robin Hood. That one I really liked. It's okay in general because like it's like, kind of what you think it's going to be when you see the title Death of Robin Hood. Hugh Jackman just, gives a great performance.
He's Hugh Jackman. He's always great in everything he does.
He's going to be great always. It's just an interesting story of someone, regretting the decisions that he made in his life, and looks for some sort of way to get a good ending, or kind of just waiting to get what he deserves and all that. And and so the situation that gets put in, it's all interesting to see. What's the other actress's name that was in it? Give me a second, look it up. The Robin Hood. Jodie Comer. She is also really. Bill Skarsgård was in this. What the fuck?
I guess he is.
What the heck? Oh, that was him. Wow, unrecognizable. Okay, my bad.
Well, he usually does that.
Yeah, great performance then. He played Little John. He's in it in the beginning and all that. I really did not recognize him, and so that's cool. But yeah, like I said, it's just about a man who regrets the decisions in his life and is looking for a good death. And so it's all pretty good. It's a good watch. Give it a rent, or buy. Rent, I guess. But yeah. And then Furious. This one's just pure action fun, dude. It's about a guy whose daughter gets kidnapped and he's about to beat the shit out of anyone to get her back. And that's really all it is. It's just a dude beating people up to find his daughter, and it's really, really fun. Action is absolutely insane, incredible, but I didn't get bored of it. Even at the third act, where they just kept going and going with the fight scene, they knew how to build it up to make it more intense, and so it's so fun. Definitely watch that one.
Yeah, I heard some people talking about this one. I don't think it's going to be like a fan favorite, but I think it just depends on, I think it might be maybe not a cult classic, but I think some people really did enjoy this movie.
Mm-hmm.
Can I ask you though, and this is related to the movie you're talking about, and this will be another tangent. Oh, it's going to be a bad episode for the standpoint of tangents, but we have a couple of things to address here. Am I not mistaken that you had an interesting experience at this movie?
Oh, with Death of Robin Hood, actually.
It was that one. Okay, so what happened?
So, I mean, it's in the title, Death of Robin Hood. Hugh Jackman, he is dying in the last couple minutes of the movie.
Oh my god! Sorry, spoilers.
It's in the title. I don't know what you expect. That I won't get into detail of how he dies, because I do find that interesting. But I mean,
can we just be clear that Robin Hood as a property? It's not surprising that a lot of boomers saw it, because they're the only ones that are left that care about that IP.
Mm-hmm.
Like the overall money that IP has made, it's been on the downward trend for decades now.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, it's not definitely didn't do all that well. Go ahead.
So he's dying and all that. Just basically imagine the final scene of Logan. That's his acting level skill. It's a bit emotional. And in that moment, someone's phone starts going off. And it went off once, still in the beginning of that scene. So I'm like, okay, whatever. He turned it off right away. Cool. And then maybe 5 minutes passed by, it's really getting in kind of emotional. And then the phone goes off again. And I was just like, okay, what the fuck is that, dude? And then he actually answers it. To be fair, it's just to tell a person hey, I'm in the movies and all that. But dude, put it on silent if it rang the first time. I don't know why you're doing that. Why do you even have the ringtone on in the first place? But yeah, that was pretty annoying. And on a pretty good scene too.
Now, this is why I asked you to talk about this, because I feel like the fact that guy picked up the phone to tell the person to leave them alone. I'm in the middle of the movie. I know this is going to sound really warped, but I would have given that person a standing ovation, because what I've experienced has not been that at all. I think him even having the decency to say, this isn't the time. Please stop calling me. Now, you're correct, David. Put it on silent.
Yeah.
Turn the phone off. Do not pick up your phone. I watched Toy Story 5 with Peter. had a similar situation where there was this gentleman behind us who clearly did not want to be there, in the sense that the phone rang throughout the course of the film, not in one instance, not in two instances, but like maybe half an hour apart in each instance, 3 times. And each time he picked up the phone.
What the fuck?
Each time he picked up the phone and proceeded to have a conversation. And I've been reading from other instances of people who have been documenting their own experiences. This has been something that's been going on a lot more now. So we've gone past the point of like, oh, I'm going to have my phone, I'm going to just put it out, in front of me and read it. Which I think makes you mentally incapacitated to watch a movie ever again, because like, no, seriously, I think you have to call into question how well your brain is working, because why are you going to spend money that you love to whine, bitch, and moan how hard you work for that money and how good this movie better be. If not, I'm going to sue the filmmakers. Or I'm going to demand my money back. What happened to that mentality? People go to the movie, they spend their money, and then they're just like,
yeah,
the whole time. Get the fuck out of that theater. Nobody else there wants to see your fucking screen. Least of all I do. But then, that's one thing. But to pick up the phone and have a whole conversation. Oh, yeah, you know what? No. The other person you hear in the middle. Blah, 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 blah. And I'm just like, dude, fucking Woody and Buzz are on the screen right now. What the fuck are you doing? And then, of course, I could tell. I didn't look back once, but I could tell he was like scrolling. And you know how I could tell? Because the brightness was up all the way. And I could even tell that from him being behind me. That's how, imagine the people who were behind him.
Yeah.
Being forced to see the light of that screen. Insane. I saw someone post on the Reddit that I follow where people just post these horror stories that some person went into whatever movie it was, who cares honestly, and she just released 3 babies to crawl up and down the stairs. To me, that's child endangerment. It is a dark room. They could fall, trip on each other, or cause other people to trip. Or they could be stepped on. Yeah. And she did not give a fuck. And then this is another thing that really upset me. This one was just like, oh, because it was kind of like touch and go. A few weeks ago, I went to go see Disclosure Day again. And weird instance where this group of like 6 walks into the row in front of me. But the older ones kind of like, they sat down and they sent the 2 younger ones away from them. I wonder why. Away from them. And they go to the row, not where I'm sitting, but behind me. So this one family got one group, one half of the group in front of me and the other half behind me. The adults, again, I think some were watching. Most of the time I could just glance over at the direction they were on their phones. To which, again, I ask, why are you here? I mean, I'm happy you're giving Spielberg money, but why are you here? Then, behind me, there is a kid around, I don't know, maybe 11 or 12, and then we have another kid that's like maybe 17, 18, 19, maybe even 20. For the first half of the movie, they were fine. I mean, they were like whispering, but it was enough to the point where it wasn't enough to where it was like distracting. We reached the halfway point. I think around the part where Emily Blunt, they all get to the warehouse and they see her house. And then it just is, it's over. Like they're so distracting. Not that they're the worst ever, but they're making enough noise. They're making noises with like their shoes on the floor. They have to make obnoxious sounds and they sit loudly on the fucking chair. And then if that wasn't enough, they're passing things back and forth between themselves and the group that's in front of me. So imagine I'm sitting here, and to my right, I've got 2 people behind me. I've got 4 people in front of me. I'm in the middle of them. And they're like passing things back. I think one time one passes their phone as if they were showing a meme or something to the other person. This is not the place to do any of this. and look, I heard that they were at moments they were engaging with the movie, but for the most part, to me, it just seems like they didn't want to be there. And if that's the case, then you don't have to be there. All you're doing is, it gave me a headache. I walked out just like mad because I'm like, well, I was here to enjoy this movie, and now I can't enjoy the movie. And I ended up not enjoying it at the very end because these people were just annoying the hell out of me. So, I mean, I don't know what to do anymore about it. I feel like it's gotten to the point now where it's such a gamble about what's going to happen when you go to the movies. But that's just me, and that's what I wanted to point out about that experience and how it was just it does affect you. It does. People who go and throw their money away to go stare at their own phone or answer phone calls in a movie theater, you're the scum of the earth. You're the scum of the earth. You can go fuck yourselves. You have no business being in a theater. And honestly, I wish nothing but the worst things for you in your life. Anyway, because there's just no decency and there's no sense of, I don't know, sincerity. I mean, what's the word I was looking for? There's just like they're not considerate. But then again, that is a very, very uncommon trait that people have. There's just inconsiderateness happening all over the place. So, I mean, I don't know why I would be surprised. I mean, it wasn't surprising, but it was very annoying. Anyway, that's the whole thing. With those films, and yeah, that's kind of where it is there. Anywho, with that being said, we can go ahead and get into what else do we have this week? I do want to say though, David, I've been we're at the halfway point now, and some people have been going to Letterboxd, and they've been posting online what they feel their top 4s are. Do you know the films that I've been seeing a lot of? Obsession and Backrooms, I'm not including in them because I think everybody knows those are big films and people like those movies. But there have been 4 movies that have been, at least in the people that I follow, there have been 4 films that have been repeating the most. Project Hail Mary, The Invite, which just came out, The Drama with Zendaya, Robert Pattinson. The Invite, I believe, was with Edward Norton, Seth Rogen, Olivia Wilde, and Penelope Cruz. And the last one, wait, what did I say the first one was?
Project Hail Mary.
Yes, Hail Mary, Invite, The Drama, and Disclosure Day. Which I thought was like, what? I thought that movie was garbage. I thought it was the most embarrassing thing ever made. And whoa, what do you know? Some people seem to have enjoyed it. I was even finding it hilarious how I was like watching some of the clips from some pundits, shall we say, that they were saying, and this is a quote by somebody who we know very well, who we talk about her. I'm not going to say her name. When she was bashing, and then she said, although some people insist still that it's a masterpiece. Well, masterpiece or not, I think there've been plenty of people who've been enjoying this movie. But it's funny to me, and it's really interesting how those are the films that I saw most repeated. And it makes me kind of really tempted to do a Drama Invite double feature. Because I haven't seen the Drama either. I really want to see it, but I also really want to see the Invite. And I wonder how that'll play if those two films, because these two are also just, I think, movies that a lot of movie fans are enjoying themselves thoroughly. And this should just give people more, I guess, titles and just Obsession and Backrooms to keep going back into. I will say though, we're talking about box office. Disclosure Day, and this will segue into overall box office conversations. Disclosure Day is the only movie I would say that hasn't embarrassed itself in the last month. So I think I saw it's 115 million budget. It already crossed over 100 million domestic. Overall, I think it's headed toward a 230 million finish worldwide. Is this great? No. Is this even good? It's okay. It's a very okay result. But if you're Steven Spielberg, whose last two films was a whole lot of this, I would be pretty happy with the fact that some people showed up. I would be happy that it did not embarrass itself. And I would be very happy that it came out at the same time that 3 other movies that were supposed to clobber my ass all imploded upon arrival. So, and it was announced today that it's going to be going to digital July 20th, and the Blu-ray will be released a month later on August 20th. So they're already packing it up. It's not doing that great, but it's also not an embarrassment. So for me, I would say that's a win because the last 2 films, no one cared. No one watched them. I mean, as far as like actual money, they got a lot of award nominations, and that's great and all. But this one, I think really needed to just like say, hey, he still has some people out there. And I totally get why Universal sold this movie on his name because, David, I think your reaction to the film is very, and most, I would say, this was not an easy movie to market because like how they were marketing this movie on like, oh, it's a Steven Spielberg movie about aliens, right? But is it though?
Yeah.
So it's not really that. So if you're like Universal, how do you sell a movie like that? That's just kind of like where my thought was going into. And I wish I had the clip to show with you, but I don't have it right now. But Sean Fennessy of the Big Picture podcast was talking about this and saying like it's really a movie about like, something that happens to you when you're so young and how it could haunt you for the rest of your life until you go back in there and like face your past and face your fears and become your whole thing. That's why I'm telling you, it's like there's a lot of thematic similarities with The Fabelmans, which in and of itself also was a hard movie to market, as was seen by the results of the box office there. So I feel like all things considered, maybe people would have been not as harsh if this was released in the fall. Because I think it's more of a fall movie than it is a summer movie, quite frankly. I mean, it even takes place in the fall when it's cold and everything.
Yeah.
But you can't argue with the fact that I believe that the road they took resulted in the most amount of money being made, and that's the business. Fundamentally speaking, you have to do the best you can with what you've got to work with. Spielberg can do whatever he wants, and I don't believe he is interested in doing, mass entertainment the same way that, Jaws or E.T. or Close Encounters were. And to be fair, maybe it didn't do the film any favors comparing itself to those other films, but it did the work. It got butts in seats. It didn't do all that bad. So there is that. I wonder, though, what this means for the next movie. If it's going to be at Universal, and if it's going to be that Western, how do you market that movie? I assume if it's a Western, it might be a little bit more action-oriented. Yeah. So that maybe it might be an easier sell. Although, if you've noticed, David, any time in recent history, when Hollywood's tried to do a Western or a Western-y kind of movie, it's not done very well. In the early 2010s, over 10 years ago, there were a couple of bombs that were kind of Western adjacent. There was the Jon Favreau film, Cowboys and Aliens, with I believe Daniel Craig was in that film. Yeah. That one did very poorly. I'm not even saying review wise. I'm just saying it was very not attended at all. There was also the Seth MacFarlane Western film. I don't know what that was called. I forget, but it also bombed massively. And I want to say that same year, or maybe it was the year before, I don't recall, Disney had kind of a Western with The Lone Ranger. Although if you consider it a Western, it's up to you. It's more of a blockbuster, but it's in the desert. I guess there's trains, like there's cowboys, you know. So, but that was a huge bomb. So you've noticed that since then, this is not a genre that people have been like going into. And Spielberg has said in the interviews that I watched that he's trying to update it to where people would be interested in watching this. So to me, I'm really stoked that he's doing this kind of movie. I think it's something that no one really touches anymore. And so we'll see what it is when it happens. But I think we should be optimistic that it will not take 4 years like the gap was between these last two. So we'll see about that. Anyway, box office. I have a lot to say. But let me just tell you, David, I'm stunned.
Mm-hmm.
Quite frankly. There's 3 films that were all supposed to be guaranteed successes to the point where it was supposed to light up the box office. People were supposed to come in droves, and it just didn't happen. Now, I want to dispel something out of the way with. The box office itself is not in free fall. Why? It's been an amazing year, I think, for films and film successes. Obsessions, Backrooms. Toy Story 5 is about to hit $1 billion. Also, Michael is still in theaters, hit $1 billion. Super Mario Galaxy hit $1 billion. Oh, and let's not forget the success of Project Hail Mary, which I believe was over 500 million worldwide. Even Hoppers didn't embarrass itself. It did something. So it's like, Send Help, the Sam Raimi movie, made a lot of business at the beginning of the year. So I would tell you, I don't believe this is a situation where like, oh my God, the sky is falling. No, clearly people are liking movies and they're making money. Now, have there been some big bombs? Yes, but take a look at the ones that have been bombing the hardest. Masters of the Universe, Mandalorian and Grogu. Okay, we got those 2 that we've already discussed. Now, I want you to remember, not just you, but the audience here. It's like, we talked about Mandu and Grogu the last 2 weeks, and we said, like, wow, what a humiliating new low. These films did even worse.
Yeah. Somehow, yeah.
Even worse. So a Star Wars film back in May opened around $80 or so million domestic, by the way. I don't count worldwide. I'm talking about just domestic. Some of these movies didn't even do half of that. So that should already just tell you how lower it got.
Yep.
I'm talking about Supergirl, Minions, and Moana. Now, let me just say this. It puts me in a little bit of a conflicting territory. I'm saddened about Supergirl, not because of the movie that it is. Well, I mean, yeah, but for the movie that it is, I don't really care, honestly, what it does. But it is disappointing because we had high hopes for it as a movie.
Yeah.
And I think it would be a different story if, like, the movie was a success, like, creatively, in that maybe it wouldn't be that big of a bomb. I mean, I did tell you, like, hey, this probably wasn't the time to release it. In retrospect, I'm thinking that maybe they might have just said, you know what? It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Just put it out, get it over with, and let's move on, you know? I'm thinking that might be what it is. So I'm not happy about that for what it might mean for James Gunn, but I also don't even care anymore. And we'll get into that when we get into the movie itself later on. Then there's Minions. This one's just funny.
Yeah.
Because what do you mean that after all this time, creatively and from a critic standpoint and from reviews, this was the strongest Minions movie they've made, and yet people did not care. Now you could say that, well, maybe it wasn't a great idea to release this for the 4th of July weekend, and maybe people were out and about doing other things. But I do think that this shows almost a complete lack of interest. Like, what do you mean that a Minions movie opened to like, what, $38 million? Supergirl opened to $37 million. Moana opened to like 43 million. You see, it's all in that like 36 to 43. By the way, can I just, for those of you keeping score at home, to just give you an even greater sense of what a disappointment these movies actually are, here's Jonathan Tham MB32 from Twitter saying, I already mentioned it over this weekend, but imagine telling somebody 2 months ago that Disclosure Day was going to have a bigger opening weekend than Supergirl and the new Minions and the Moana remake.
Mm-hmm.
Now, it wasn't that big of a difference. Disclosure Day ended up being like around 44, 45 million, but still, I think that makes the point for itself. It's like, it suggests, I think, something very clear. You can't say as an excuse that these movies did badly because people aren't interested. Look at the other films this year. People are very interested. And you and I, David, since 2023 have been saying very clearly that word of mouth has been a much bigger factor these last few years than it was even a few years back. Word of mouth on all of these films was not great. Even in the best of circumstances, Minions was like, okay, but it's a Minions movie. But this is what connects all three of them. They all come from franchises that are much beleaguered. They are so past their expiration date in a way. Minions speaks for itself. And this is how you can tell it's a disappointment. This third Minions movie, by the way, there's 3 Minions films now, and there's like 4 Despicable Me films. So altogether, there are like 7 of these movies. This last one opened even lower than the very original Despicable Me back in 2010.
Okay.
That's a uh-oh.
Yeah.
We need to go away for a couple of years. Because people might be a little bit over us right now.
It's also funny
which
because
I'll tell you,
Illumination. That's basically their mascot, the Minions. So it's like, oh, hey, nobody cares about your Minions anymore. I mean, a lot of people hated them from the beginning and all that, just about, just kind of how they show them and all that. And so it's kind of happy, honestly, that this one's failing because, especially with the Illumination movie, like, you guys...
I'm happy.
Yeah, y'all put, like, kind of mediocre movies. Like, they're just not that great.
All of them are mediocre.
I even put Mario Galaxy on that. Like, Mario Galaxy is like probably your best movie.
You enjoy both those films, but you put them still on a mediocre list.
Yeah, because there's just so much you can do with it, and you don't for some reason. And so that's
you don't even try. They don't even try is the point. It's like those films should have been a point where they could have, I don't know, gave a shit.
Yeah.
To do more than what they did with those movies.
I mean, they definitely improved on the animation. Like, that's for sure. We saw a significant
jump in quality.
Yeah, jump in quality. So there's that. But for some reason, the story isn't what you're finding important in this situation. So I don't know. It never made sense. So for this movie to have failed, I'm really happy about that. And I'm hoping we'll see what happens next. And there are the movies that they do some sort of rewrite on everything else, so we'll see.
This is why it's so surprising. Yes, it is. It's Illumination's mascot because, man, the merch on the Minions is like astronomical. Like, and people, I remember every time that they would show up in a trailer, people, at least in where I come from, people love those things to death. They love them to death. So this was very surprising, but I'll tell you this. I think it shows, Yeah, it shows it's a complete lack of interest in this franchise. I think that's the audience telling the studio, I think we have enough of these movies for a minute now. Maybe we can take a break from them. But you know what else is also the thing? Maybe the 4th of July weekend was not the time to release this film. Families were out and about. But you know what else was also in theaters 4th of July weekend? Toy Story 5.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe don't go up against Toy Story. Maybe they thought they could because, it is Illumination's mascot versus Pixar's mascot franchise, if you will, in a sense. I mean, maybe it's not the mascot, but it is the flagship franchise of Pixar, the Toy Story films. But in retrospect, maybe this was a colossal mistake to do that. Because Toy Story, I mean, it's Toy Story.
No, yeah. I went to the movies when it first opened. I didn't know Minions was out, actually. That was funny. But all I saw was just families all dressed up in Toy Story characters, T-shirts of Toy Story, going into the theater. Like, you had zero chance of competing against Toy Story. So, yeah, that was a big mistake on their part.
Yeah. Again, I'm just going to say but all three of these films, Moana, Minions, and Supergirl, I'm not going to, lie to you and tell you that it would have been that much better, but August was right there.
Yeah.
And you could also just say that there's like a lot of competition now. Like, it wasn't, like, there's several different kinds of films that thankfully, bigger films, smaller films, independent films, studio films, that and also the other thing we have to keep in mind is maybe it did not make for the best decision to have these again. You know what else is not happening in August? That was happening throughout all this time? The World Cup. So again, these are things you want to take into consideration. There are other, let's just say, avenues for people to get their entertainment fix, and these franchises did not speak to people enough to leave what they were already doing to go to a theater, and Minions being among them. So yes, I am happy about the Moana thing. I mean the Minions thing. But then that kind of Freudian slip, because Moana, now that's the real one. That's the one where I'm like, where's the button where I can play the Celebrate song? Because that to me, let me tell you something. I have been waiting a long time for something like this to happen.
Yeah.
And to tell you the truth, I think like it really does. It couldn't happen to a better film than Moana live action remake 2026, because to me, that was the epitome of how low. It showed how far and low Disney will go to make a buck. And to me, this is the thing, we have to remember this. Like, these live action remakes, they've been bad for a long time.
Yeah.
And I do want to say this, because there's been some people who've been saying that, like, oh, well, you know what? Some hit and some don't. They had a big hit last year with Lilo and Stitch. The reasons for why Lilo and Stitch hit are very obvious, as are the reasons for why Moana didn't. And we can get into those just now. I do want to say, though, that we're not in the same territory as we were in the late 2010s, where we had Lion King, Beauty and the Beast, and Aladdin, and they, I believe, each made well over $1 billion.
Yeah.
Those days are gone, because it's not just as if Moana is the only disappointment. Snow White last year, which, by the way, Moana barely did better than Snow White's opening weekend, which that should tell you a lot. And while not as embarrassing as these two, Little Mermaid didn't embarrass itself, but it was a far cry from $1 billion, which is the whole reason why these movies are even greenlit in the first place. So in my eyes, we've got Little Mermaid, Snow White, and Moana. I think we're in a market where live action remakes can still hit, like last year with How to Train Your Dragon, but it just depends on the right one. If you're just blindly greenlighting live action remakes, you get what happened with Moana.
Yeah.
And again, let's just say the obvious. Moana 2016 is an incredible movie.
Yep.
Whose legacy has been so much kinder than its initial release. A lot of people didn't really give it that much credit when it came out. It made money. It was a hit. But it really didn't blow up until Disney Plus. And that's when its real significance kind of kicked in. And can we just say, for all of the conversations all over the world and every podcast about Moana, can we just give a shout out to John Musker and Ron Clements, the directors and writers of Moana, the legendary directing duo of the animation studio at Disney. This was their final collaboration together. And it speaks for itself. I should say that this movie is the defining movie of the Disney revival era. More than Frozen, more than Zootopia. Now, Zootopia and Frozen are huge in their own right. Don't let me take away from any of them.
Yeah.
But Moana has been the magic one that I think has endured. And can I just say, David, I genuinely love that movie.
Yeah.
I loved it when I first saw it. I don't watch it all that often, but it still lives in my mind. Amazing characters, incredible songs, and visuals that blew me away when I saw it. So, for all the crap that we're about to say about Moana, the new one, can we just be clear that the original film is an incredible and everlasting work of art? Truly, I think one of the defining films of the 21st century for Disney animation, very easily. And I think it shows that Disney animation, in large part, is still capable of making films like that if they just hire the right people. Musker and Clements are not necessarily retired. They're not working together any longer for I don't know whatever reasons, but bring them back. Maybe, hey, do you want to come make another movie for us? We kind of need you because whatever else what we're doing ain't working out too well. But what happened? Moana was a big hit on Disney Plus, and so they ordered a TV show, which we were all on board with.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, why not? Let's do a TV show.
Let's know more about
Why
this
not?
culture, whatever you can make up with. That's awesome. It's, worked for other shows, Lilo and Stitch.
Other movies,
Hercules.
TV shows. Aladdin had one. Timon and Pumbaa had their own show before they had their own movie. Little Mermaid had like a prequel series. You mentioned Hercules had a show as well. Like they would do this all. Buzz Lightyear even had his own show.
Yeah.
Which I thought was a very good show too.
Heck yeah.
Mind you. So like they would do this all the time, which is like, yeah, sure, do that. But what happened, David? Well, Bob Chapek was executed at an Elton John concert, and they brought in Bob Iger back. And Bob Iger basically had to think fast and like see. By the way, can we just be clear? Bob Chapek is Bob Iger's fault. Everything Bob Chapek did is Bob Iger's fault because Bob Iger picked Bob Chapek. It is what it is. And then also, can we just say fuck Bob Iger because he was talking so much about like, Disney has to stand by LGBTQ workers only for them to come back into the company, kind of like throw them away saying, oh, well, I guess we went woke too hard. So we got to like, go away from that, otherwise we'll go broke. Hypocrite. But the point is, Chapek was such a disaster that Iger came back in and he had to figure out what to do. Okay, well, they already had in production nearly completed the first season of this Moana show. And he was like, he said this in an interview, mind you. I'm paraphrasing, but this is exactly what he's indicating. He was impressed with how good it looked. He said it in an interview that it looked near picture quality, like feature quality. So he was like, you know what? That's good enough for me. And then he went to those people, you know what? We've changed our minds. We're not going to release this as a 6-episode miniseries. We're going to make it a movie. So even though the animation's almost done, work it around, staple it together, do what you got to do. And mind you, we are already saving money by this being a TV show and animating this out of the country. But because you're TV people and not movie people, we're also not going to pay you a different rate. Just so you know about that. So it comes out in theaters. It's a huge success. They call it Moana 2. It makes $1 billion. And the people that worked on that film were saying, oh, give it a month. People are going to know all of our songs. David, can you name a single song from that movie?
I saw it in Spanish, so I can't really name you one song. But either way, it just wasn't as great. Not that memorable.
Not at all. No.
So,
but then this is the other asinine idea. It's not just that they put Moana 2 in theaters and they get same thing with Lilo and Stitch. That was supposed to be a Disney Plus project. Went to theaters. Mando and Grogu was supposed to be season 4 of Mandalorian. They ended up putting that into a makeshift film. The Moana live action remake was officially greenlit when Bob Iger came back. Around the time of like late 2022, very early 2023. Bob Iger owns this mess. He owns this disaster. He, I feel, has proven to be extraordinarily lucky in the things that have worked for him. But I do say that, and we even said it, I think, at the time, wait, you're going to have a Moana remake movie less than 2 years after Moana 2 and less than 10 years after the first Moana.
Yeah.
From the very beginning, we saw all kinds of red flags, and we all thought to ourselves, what are you thinking? Now, the one thing that we were not in doubt of were, well, I mean, people like these movies. It's going to make $1 billion. That's it. And I'm happy to say, for the first time ever, we were wrong about that. And I'm happy to be wrong about that because fuck this movie.
Yeah.
Fuck you, Moana. Like, this is not something that should have existed. And David, I'm going to let you have yours today, but first I'm going to go ahead and play some clips from my friends over at Double Toasted. Hilarious people. And they let it rip.
But I am happy to report it is a bomb compared to how much it costs to make. $250 million is what it said to have cost this movie to produce and to make. And the weekend gross domestically is a flimsy $43 million, even though the movie was number one. Even worldwide, it didn't reach 100 million. Worldwide, 95 million right there. So even at number one, it is a failure, y'all. And I'm going to tell you right now, I take pleasure in every bit of this. That is some delicious failure, Martin, right there. You want a piece? One little bite. There's a party celebrating in my head right now. All kind of ticker tape is going off and everything.
Come on now. Don't be like that.
I would not come on. But for all the people who did this from the business decision point of view, all you people in corporate, that damn mouse, fuck you. That's what you get. Because sometimes corporate greed gets a little out of control.
Yeah, it gets spanked.
Yeah. And every now and then that corporation needs a little kick in the nuts.
Yeah.
To say you're getting a little crazy now.
Yeah. Well, doesn't it seem like this year, like the $250 million budget is the death budget? Because we had this, Supergirl and He-Man.
Yeah.
And these fantastic movies with these high budgets.
Yeah,
there's one of them.
We're going to talk about that because there is something going on here, which is why we're talking about the failure of Moana. Not just because, well, yeah, I love talking about the failure of this. Boy, this made my day right here. I don't know why. There's so many things to celebrate in life. But yet, to hell with you, Moana. You suck.
And then just cherry on top.
Dwayne Johnson. If you don't want to be there, you got enough money, then don't be there. Take your big ass home. Everybody talking about that wig. Don't criticize that wig because it's got way more energy than Dwayne Johnson. This is the same guy that did the same character in the original and in the sequel.
I'm going to eat whatever that is.
It's a chicken. His name is Hey Hey.
His name is Yum Yum.
This is a damn shame. This is the same man who created the character.
I know.
Brought the character to life. And now he's killing him right here. This rubber suit that he has on, the detail's impressive, but it looks like he's about to go sumo wrestling with this.
You brought up Flounder with The Little Mermaid.
Yeah.
At the point where you're like, this is the best we can do with Flounder, that's a sign to like, this project, we should just not even do any of this.
That damn fish, that old fish with them old expressionless eyes right there, actually had more energy in Little Mermaid than what Dwayne Johnson got in this movie right here. That you could have put a wig on that fish and had him play Maui. It's one thing to be lazy and do it, but it's another thing to just show that laziness on the screen. To really get on the screen on IMAX and show everybody I don't give a I'm just here for the check.
I mean, I think they said it better than I could have myself. And they brought up a couple of interesting points. One thing I will say is when Martin said the death budget, $250 million, talking about He-Man, Supergirl, Moana. And again, I have to just put it out there. You can't even use that as an excuse anymore that you justify spending that much money to make them look good, because none of them look good.
Yeah. None of them
They
look
don't
good.
look good
There have
anymore.
been so
None of them
many
did.
other movies that look way better than this with a lower budget, and for some reason, I feel like it's just proof at this point that having a higher budget does not mean you're gonna make a good movie or make a good looking movie. It's just not gonna happen. So,
Matter of fact, I think we're at the point where the higher the budget is, the worse it looks, unless you're made by a Denis Villeneuve or a Christopher Nolan or a James Cameron or somebody who I know and trust is actually going to give a fuck about, filming it right, lighting it right, color correcting, all that stuff. Like, they're actually going to spend money on effects that look good. Whereas if it's like the same budget, but by Disney, or I just know automatically, that's going to look like shit.
mm-hmm.
And that's a big part of why Moana, I would say, failed, is every step of the way of this marketing campaign, on top of the fact that no one really wanted, I guess, this movie anymore, or at least this one story, is the trailers showed that the film's visuals were so flat. And I mean, I'm sorry, like every new image that I see of the movie looks terrible. Dwayne Johnson looked like he was sleepwalking. The wig, the suit was awful. It was, I think, a perfect storm. David.
No, yeah. It was absolutely insane when you first see the trailer and you're just like, oh, you CG'd everything, even though you filmed on location. Why would you ever do that? Like,
people were saying it was AI. It looked AI. It was how bad it looked.
I wouldn't doubt that, honestly. Like, it makes no sense. Like, I went to school, I took classes for film. All we ever talked about, one of the biggest things we always talk about is lighting. Like, we fucking love lighting. We always,
it's kind of everything.
A big dream of ours
is a visual medium.
Is to have an HMI light, just one of those giant lights. Like, that's all you need to build to like light anything in your set and all that. So the fact that you're on set, you have the actual sun, you just have to time it right. Like, that's all you have to fucking do. And instead what they do nowadays is just they put like a filter of sorts on top of the person so that they can do it in post to change the lighting and all that. And it's like, oh my god, just do it naturally. It's easier. I don't know. So it's just, yeah, it's annoying for the visuals of it all. But for this movie bombing, I love it. It's just the best news ever, honestly.
No, we're throwing a party over here at Red Spotlight, the Moana Sucks parties, because like we've been saying it for so many years. It's like, telling to people, it's like, why are you eating all these slops? Like, it's so many countless movies now. And I'm sorry, but like the reason why I mean, I've been so negative and against them is even more to the point that they shouldn't really be made in the first place. It's like, and we all said from the very beginning, if you're going to make it a true adaptation, go for it. But they very clearly lost interest in it, and they're even wanting to make an adaptation. In a lot of these instances, they're just doing the same movie scene for scene, shot for shot all over again. But even worse, they look worse. They look awful. And not one of these movies has risen to the state of it. Like, all these films suffer from the same problems. They all look terrible. They have high budget costs. A lot of the actors are like charisma vacuums. They do not command attention.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, a lot of these have just gotten terrible, given terrible performances. Right. And then whenever they do want to make a slight change or a tweak, it's for the worse.
Mm-hmm.
Like, remember Beauty and the Beast and that time travel book or whatever it was, or why that was even like,
yeah.
All these stories, and I'm not even saying it's the worst decision by far. I'm just saying like just like needless changes. I mean, the only time that I could say that I was curious to see what they would do was the characterization of Ariel in Little Mermaid. That was cool. But for the most part, and look, let me just give people the true breadth of this 21 movies. 21 movies. Here they are. Alice Through the Looking Glass. Pinocchio. Snow White. Alice in Wonderland. Lady and the Tramp. Dumbo by Tim Burton. Maleficent and Maleficent Mistress of Evil. They made 2 of those. The Lion King. Peter Pan and Wendy. Mulan.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, Mulan. Jesus,
Totally
that stuck up the place. Yeah. I mean, why would you remember? A Little Mermaid, Moana. Pete's Dragon. Cruella. Lilo and Stitch. Beauty and the Beast. Aladdin. Cinderella. Jungle Book. Christopher Robin. Christopher Robin and Cruella, I'm not even sure if I would consider them remakes. They kind of feel like their own thing.
They're most, well, Cruella is just, you can almost say a prequel at the very least. And then Christopher Robin is more so a sequel to like the entire franchise. Which, I mean, Christopher Robin I enjoyed and all that. It's not really one that like I rewatch. I tried rewatching it once, but I couldn't finish it. I got busy.
Right.
But like, you know, there's some good ones, but like the only ones that's, okay, maybe I shouldn't say good ones, but like they're standout ones because they're so different.
In a list of 21, I just gave you 21 movies. And I think regardless of which ones that you may have, like, I enjoyed Christopher Robin.
Mm-hmm.
I enjoyed Jungle Book. I liked Cinderella. And I actually had a lot of fun with Cruella. The rest of these, get rid of them.
Yeah.
Get rid of them.
Mm-hmm. I mean, what this gets me curious though is Tangled. Like what the heck is gonna happen with that? Because that one, I mean, I want to say it's gonna do far better than Moana. Don't know if it's gonna reach 1 billion. Because that one, it's a good movie. It had a show that was pretty much loved. And so we'll see if that hits it, you know, gives it a good run. But I'm also just curious, like, what the heck are they thinking about this movie? Because they already, like, you know, backtracked after Snow White came out, and we're kind of like, oh shoot, what do we do here? And then just, you know, kept the movie forward, make all kinds of changes. So now it's like, all right, what are you gonna do now? Like, you know, Moana was a big hit here. This remake is completely bombed. What are you guys thinking of right now? Are you guys gonna keep going forward with this? Are you guys gonna make rewrites of this movie? Are you gonna put fucking effort on your filmmaking? Like, what the hell is gonna happen here? I don't know. And so I'm so curious what's gonna happen with that one. I would generally be surprised if Tangled comes out to be like their best remake, but it just still doesn't make the money that they want. I don't know. I got a feeling that they're gonna spend a lot more money on that one now because of what happened with Moana, which,
well, honestly, they shouldn't. And I'll tell you a couple of things as to why what they shouldn't do that. But let me just be clear. This Moana movie is going to lose Disney at least $150 million, and good, they deserve it.
Mm-hmm.
Fuck you for making the movie in the first place. When you think about it, David, Tangled, really, in all honesty, it shouldn't really cost that much money.
no, none of these do.
It shouldn't be. I mean, they shouldn't at all. But like this one, from a visual effects standpoint, I don't believe you need to really spend all that much money on visual effects. Like, you could just use sets and actors, and I think you should be fine for the most part, right? Except for maybe the hair. The hair's the big thing, but other than that,
honestly, like, I really don't any of these studios should be spending more than 150 mil on a
No,
big budget
they
movie.
shouldn't.
Like seriously, 150 mil should be the cap off for any movie. You know, like if you think Tango's gonna make you a bunch of money, cool. 150 mil, stick to that. You know, usually I kind of want to say 100 mil, but there are a couple of movies that go over that. But like, you know, keep it at 100 mil, and then you know if they start going over budget, take a look at it. It's like, what the fuck is going on here? Are there someone fucking up? Are they, you know, what's going on? And then try to, you know, work around the budget over that. But there's so many other movies that had like far less than that. They look great, and just stick to that. I don't understand. This is part of the factory, mind you, of like factory machine that they can keep going. It's just, hey, we got this idea of a movie. We think it's gonna look great, do great, cool, 100 mil. This one, we don't know. It could vary, but there's some good, you know, either actors or big names of a director that can, you know, give it some views. Okay, well, let's just give them 65 or 75 mil for the budget. Like, that's all you have to do. That's all it is. And for some reason, they just can't think straight about it. And so, Peter, and I've seen other YouTubers mention this too. There's some sort of money laundering scheme going on here. Like, why the fuck are you spending so much money on these movies? Like, it makes no sense. And so, yeah, like I said, if they want to make this as a factory, cap off at 100 mil, and then just make whatever movie you want. Like, you guys have so much money in the world, and for some reason you don't want to make more. Like, I don't understand.
Yeah. I don't know how Tangled will do. I'll tell you that right now.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if it's as beloved as Moana, but you have to keep in mind this. Like, this is the thing. Moana is the most popular Disney animated movie. If that could bomb, will you really be secure and safe about anything else? Like, that's kind of like, what else do you got? Tangled, maybe. After that, I don't know where else you go. You've already made 21 of these.
No, yeah, they're done with remakes. I mean, there's no more for them to remake after this. Like, it's just anything else. Moana is already too soon of a remake to have done. You're putting in Tangled and anything after that, it's like, you're done. You can't do these anymore. I can't guarantee you Tangled is gonna make as much money, and so you should be worried. And also, I was saying that they're probably gonna put a lot more money on Tangled because it's like that's all they can think of to do. It's just like, what do we do? How do we fix this? I don't know. Just put more money in it. Try to make it look better or something. It's like, you can do that with less money, my guy. I don't know what you're doing.
Yeah, now that I'm even thinking about it, like, well, why did Snow White cost that much in the first place? But I guess you had those dwarves.
That one was just mess after mess after mess.
It was a disaster.
For some reason, Gal Gadot is a very
useless actor,
high price actress and all that. Rachel Zegler, like, it's a good choice because she's new to it. She didn't have to pay her as much, but she's also just a good actress and good singer and all that. So it works out. But then you have Gal Gadot. Don't know why you would do that. Why you put someone, you know, who, you know, gets paid a lot to have done this,
or someone who said, Grace Randolph said about Gal Gadot, she can't act, she can't sing, she even has trouble just standing there.
Yeah, and then you got the whole dwarf situation going on, whether they want to do it, whether they should keep them, and then I think at some point they did like stop filming. I can't remember what it was about. They just had to stop, and then so trying to keep up the budget of that, and then just all of the CGI shit that they do with the movie got them a bit more expensive to make. So it was just one mess after another with Snow White. Again, that one should not have been close to 100 mil, honestly, to make. So,
well, one thing's for sure though. I personally feel that any executive that greenlit and any executive that was working on Moana should be fired.
Mm-hmm.
Because Disney has no problem firing any of the actual laborers in their company. But the people who brought you this disaster, I'm sorry, they need to be fired and let go. At bare minimum.
What's also sucks about it is that they're willing to spend so much money on the actors. And I saw a video of someone bringing this up.
We didn't even mention Dwayne Johnson in all of this, Dave. This is a humiliating event for him, even more so than, where his career already was, in the sense that, Black Adam really embarrassed him, and thankfully it did. It didn't work out all that well with the Smashing Machine a few years ago, as far as nominations. And then, his career is not going great. And I think it's also kind of noticeable how he looked very dejected from this performance. He kind of had dead eyes or whatever was going on, but the wig was awful. The suit was awful. In a lot of ways, it is speculated that he himself helped kind of get this project greenlit in the first place. And if that's the case, Dwayne Johnson, you got to go to actor jail. Go away. You need to take some time off. I think Peter last week kind of nailed it on the head as to why so many of these are not all of them. They're not all suffering from this very reason, but a lot of them are suffering from the reason that they're not given the space to go away. And Dwayne Johnson, this also includes the actors. Everything you do, you need to go away. David, go ahead and continue with what you were saying.
Someone was bringing this up in the Supergirl movie that how did it go exactly? It was basically why do they keep spending so much money on these movies? And
money laundering.
What's one of the
that's the only one that
the
makes
biggest
sense,
reasons? And it's because of the actors who, how is it that you can spend $200 million on a movie like this, but you have a Wes Anderson movie, or even Disclosure Day movie, where you have Wes Anderson specifically, who always has the same actors in his movies, people who get a lot of money into these things, and those actors are actually willing to take pay cuts just to be in their movie. And it's I assure you, none of that is happening on these DC movies, these remakes.
Wes Anderson's last movie was a budget of $25 million. It grossed $54 million. That was...
I know. How much did those actors get paid? Far less than this, and that's part of the reason why. It's because some of these actors know it's bullshit. They know it's this is probably gonna bomb. I'm gonna get my money's worth on this and off of this. Whereas you can't convince them to stay in this franchise to keep it going and all that. It's just absolutely insane that they don't. That some of these executives don't understand that they're wasting their money on the I hate saying this, but they're wasting their money on the actors, even though yes, they're the stars, they deserve quite a bit of money, but it's they're also playing over you, that, right? So you can't just treat one person different, your labor force one differently from another.
So Wes Anderson's last movie, Asteroid City, the whole budget was $25 million. Disclosure Day spent that much money on just paying Steven Spielberg and Emily Blunt.
Oh my God.
And Josh O'Connor got paid. So Steven got $10 million. Emily Blunt got $15 million. That's a big payday for Emily Blunt. Good for her. And Josh O'Connor got $6 million. So between that, it's $31 million on just 3 people. So if you brought that down, that would have got, what's 115 minus 30? Well, that would have been at least well over underneath $100 million. So yeah, people should probably take pay cuts to bring these budgets down, I would say.
Honestly, for any job, I don't care how big, how a lot of how much.
Tell it to RTJ.
Yeah.
By the way,
no, yeah. I don't care how much effort you put in. You shouldn't get paid more than $1 million, man.
Well, do you remember how much? Who was it? That Ryan Johnson, his producer Ron Bergman, and then also Daniel Craig, each walked away with $100 million for doing Glass Onion and Wake Up Dead Man, and Netflix was willing to pay.
Yeah,
they don't care how much money they spent. So in that case,
fuck it,
take it, right? But they each walked away with $100 million for doing 2 movies.
Again, if you want the factory idea for your studios, pay them less. Just put your fucking foot down. Hey, all you actors.
Well, how much is RDJ making for Doomsday?
Yeah. Oh my god.
I'm pretty sure he's making 100 million, if not more.
Far more for sure. And it's just why? Oh my god. Again, like I said, for these studios exist.
But David, the studios agree with you, which is why they're trying to, explore artificial intelligence to rid themselves of actors, which, by the way, is also not the right way to go about it.
You don't need to spend your money on something else. It's just all right there. Again, you have the factory setting. Put your foot down. Hey, actors, the most we're gonna give you is 10 mil for a movie if we're desperately needing you. That's it. That's your cap off right there. Okay, and then that's it. You fucking move on. If they don't want that, cool. Get someone else. You don't need. You can find the next fucking Florence Pugh, Dwayne Johnson. He's more he's the pop. Yeah, you know what I mean. You can find the next big actor from that. And that's kind of what you're trying to do here. That's the whole point of DEI, mind you. That's the whole point of DEI is to try to find some diamond in the rough. Do that. Put your fucking foot down on the budgets. Actors, okay, cool. You get 15 mil on. That's the highest we'll go. Same thing with directors, whatever. And then like I said too, $100 million to make a movie. I don't know. It's just so annoying.
Mm-hmm. I do want to say though, I was gonna play this about Dwayne Johnson. This is pretty funny to me, because I think this kind of encapsulates where the career has gone for him. This is from the Big Picture podcast.
Is The Rock dead?
I have helpfully compiled the filmography for Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson since 2016, since the original Moana was released. Here are the films: The Fate of the Furious, Baywatch, Jumanji: Welcome to the Jungle, Rampage, Skyscraper, those are two different movies, Fast and Furious Presents Hobbs and Shaw, Jumanji: The Next Level, Jungle Cruise, Red Notice, animated DC League of Super Pets, Black Adam, Fast X, Red 1, Moana 2, The Smashing Machine, Moana, and then later this year, Jumanji Open World. Woof.
I was going to be charitable and say this happened to Schwarzenegger. This happens to lots of our great action stars. You have a shelf life. People get tired of your moves or people move on to the next thing. But he doesn't have anything in his filmography that even approaches lower mid-tier Schwarzenegger.
A lot of these choices are really bad. And this is kind of a reckoning for somebody who has only pursued a certain kind of movie for such a long time. And he's not he was bad in the live action Moana. He originated Maui. He looks a lot like Maui. He's charming enough. But it's just a repeat of a movie we've already seen, and there's nothing in this live-action remake that improves upon the original in any way.
And so it does speak to this moment that we keep coming back to of are things changing? And are people tired of franchises? And you stick The Rock in some junky XYZ with bad CGI, and for a while that was enough, and or studios and businesses and The Rock thought that it was enough. And maybe now we are turning to a point where it is not.
I feel that's kind of where my thoughts are at too, where it's he in particular is somebody who we shouldn't let get away with it anymore, because the same way that Disney has been coasting off of these lazy live action remakes, the same way that Illumination has been coasting off the success of lazy, mediocre animated movies like The Minions, The Rock himself has been coasting for well over a decade now, his entire career, in the most mediocre, as Amanda said, CGI XYZ, whatever you want in there. Look at that track record of movies from 2016 to 2026 is abysmal. This is a person that in a lot of ways I hold responsible for really curbing the taste of the general public in a dog shit direction territory. And I'm very happy to see his career crashing and burning. I'm not going to sit here and say that he will never have a successful film ever again, but I do think it's time to stop, take a break, and reevaluate. And I think if it's true that he's doing a Scorsese movie, the next one, that might be a way to reset the career. And maybe, because I don't think he's a terrible actor. I just think he makes terrible movies.
Mm-hmm.
All of them are terrible.
Do the Robert Pattinson thing. Just be in small movies, work on your craft.
Or Dave Bautista.
Dave Bautista, yeah.
Bautista's
him too.
Yeah.
He has more filmography range
yes.
Than The Rock. And so and I like what he's trying to do. And but like I said too, it's like same thing for him. Like work on your craft, and then one day you're gonna impress someone or talk to someone, and it's gonna make a hit. So that's what happened with Robert Pattinson. A lot of small budget movies, and then what happened? Batman, Boy and the Heron, fucking Dune, and it's just like he's going up. He's going up. You see that. And
Well, this year, what is he did the drama? He's going to be in the Odyssey. And he's going to be in Dune.
Dune, yeah.
This year.
Mm-hmm. But are people saying that he's in too many movies? No.
I don't know. Are they? I'm not sure. Maybe at the end of the year they might say that about that and Zendaya.
No, they're
She's
already
in
saying
all those
no.
movies.
They're already saying that for Zendaya.
Oh,
like
great.
that's why I'm finding it annoying. It's just like okay, Zendaya's in the drama in Dune, and like
The
other
drama,
stuff,
Dune,
Euphoria,
the Odyssey.
Odyssey, and Euphoria, and they're already like, oh, she's in too many
Spider-Man.
things. Yeah, and they're already saying like, oh, she's in too many things. But then you see Robert Pattinson in all those movies, and it's just like silence. It's all crickets. They don't care. It's just there's
People always act stupid when they say, "Oh, they're in too many things." Hey, genius! I wonder why they're in too many things. It's because the studios have figured out that you like seeing them, so of
Mhm.
course they would put them in everything. They always do this. So it's like, don't take it out on the actor.
and
Although
then,
Johnson, I think, is different because he himself is not just an actor. He was the creative force behind a lot of those films. He had this reputation for years of not just like, hey, you have this role and I'm the actor and I'm going to like work in service of the vision and the producers and the directors that are there. No. In every project, for the most part, that he's been involved with, he came in and he waved his dick around saying, you know what? No, change my character here. My character, he made it his mission to the point where he plays the same character in every movie he's in.
Mhm.
In some movies, he's even wearing the same costume
I don't
because
know.
he's tailor made. He's made those demands,
Yeah.
and he, I feel, is responsible more than anybody else for the failure he found himself in.
I don't know how true this was, but I heard like he like contractually obligated to always win. Like he can never lose in the stuff that he's on. Again, I don't know how true that was, but that's absolutely insane. Like, dude, let the writer and director do whatever the fuck they want. So I don't know. And then what's annoying, like I was mentioning with the Robert Pattinson and Zendaya thing, the other dumb thing is you're clearly not watching enough stuff. I don't know what you're talking about. When it happened with Pedro Pascal, they start listing off like the movies that he's in, and I'm like, wow, he's in those. Good for him. I'm gonna move on now and watch whatever anime I'm watching. I'm gonna move on now and just read this book that I like, or and then there's other movies to watch. I just saw The Furies. I saw Death of Robin Hood. I want to see Hugh Jackman, and I wish I can see Hugh Jackman was getting like one movie after another. That would be great for him. So I don't know. It's always, I hate when people complain about that. It's annoying.
Yeah. Before we move on to the films that we're talking about today, I do want to say that we had a little bit of news with a couple of things. First, this is interesting. 12 states, including California, joined together this week to sue, finally, what took you so long, to block the Paramount WG merger. Now, ultimately, what this will do, time will tell. But this past week, I want to say that Magamount made some kind of veiled threat about California needing to do something, otherwise they'll move all their operations outside of the state. And less than 48 hours later, California hit them back with a joined lawsuit. All of these states are suing to block this merger from happening for very obvious reasons. Maybe it was coordinated to hit at this time because the hope is they're looking for some kind of emergency injunction in the sense that they want to just stop this whole merger from going any further until there have been like more investigations to see if this, because the whole point is obviously, and we all know this, this violates antitrust laws. This is not capitalism anymore. This is a monopoly. On top of the fact that this is going to be controlled by conservative media, which is going to, in a lot of ways, influence the kind of projects that are made or not. I mean, I even tell you, why even bother getting invested in the James Gunn DCU when we have this hanging over its head? So this is just something I wanted to update people on. I don't know if you want to like hang your hat on this as something like that could be effective. I mean, we'll see. I do want to note that the majority of the states, except for one of them, were, of course, from Democratic governors. I think Nevada was the only state that joined that was from a Republican governor, but I think that should kind of just tell you, well, it's a very partisan thing. So I wanted to update people on that and see where that goes. I also want to say the Batman was delayed again. Now, it is shooting, but it's now been delayed from 2027 to now open in 2028, just in time for the next presidential election. And apparently, it's been delayed primarily because there's been a little bit of a snafu that happened with J.J. Abrams. Now, if you recall a few years back, J.J. Abrams made a deal with WB it was a huge production deal. They're gonna have all these projects. To this day, not one project has manifested. He got paid $250 million, and not one movie has been made. And I am directing him producing. I don't know what he's been doing, but he's been paid to do absolutely nothing. And the idea is that WB is so embarrassed that they need to get something out. The one and only thing is the next movie by J.J. Abrams himself, The Great Beyond, I believe it's called. And they wanted to get that out before the, I guess, deal expired, which is, I mean, how embarrassing is that? $250 million, and this is about to expire only one movie. Also, and this is the weird thing about it, that movie's already shot.
Yeah.
J.J. Abrams already shot the film, and he needs over a year of post-production? Why?
It's weird. I don't understand. I can't believe he's still working. They even got paid for nothing. It makes absolutely no sense. Again,
and this after episode 9 and that disaster, he gets signed up to do a production deal and does zero work.
Yeah, we keep complaining about guys in suits, making the artistic choices. You can't make the business choices. You can't even do that right. Like, what the hell is even the point of you running a fucking studio? What the hell? It makes no sense.
I don't know what J.J. Abrams has cooking. I don't know. But I mean, I will just tell you this. It is a troubling thing. If you're somebody who is excited about his next movie, to hear that it's already been shot and he has to take a whole year to do more work on it, what that work would be, I don't know. But it does not justify any of this, and it also doesn't justify making the whole world wait for a project that we are actually excited about, which is the Batman 2.
Yeah. Why even do that in the first place? I don't. None of this makes sense. I can't say more than that. It's just, it doesn't make any sense at all. Why delay Batman? We want to see that. The only good thing I can say about it is, hey, Matt Reeves, take your time then. Just take your time, get things right, and hopefully you make a fantastic fucking movie.
Yeah. Anyway, well, I guess that will segue us. Oh, wait, no, not yet. I was going to go into DC, but we have one more thing to discuss. It's a small thing, too, so it's not a big story. So, David, we have a big movie coming out later this year called Avengers Doomsday. Yes, and here's apparently Word of Real is reporting that Avengers Doomsday is facing some serious issues. It started with a feud between a few of the actors who filmed scenes together, not just on blue screens, which nearly turned physical. And now in post-production and editing, some Disney executives have reportedly told Feige the movie is a mess and too convoluted. Here's another clip I'm going to play to you. This is from John Campea, basically saying the exact same thing.
I am certainly excited about Doomsday, although I'm going to talk about this on the show tomorrow. I'm hearing it's not going so good. Again, I'll talk more about that tomorrow because you guys know I'm super excited for Doomsday. I've been saying all year this is going to be like the Avengers movie.
So can't be what later say that they're trying to put the movie together in the editing process and they realized, oh, it's not coming together.
Yeah, because
And I think it backs up with what this report is saying, that it is apparently a mess. That Disney, and by the way, Disney, not the best movie sense sometimes. They're saying to Feige, what the fuck?
yeah, I don't.
Uh-oh.
I don't blame them why they think it's a mess, because you have to set up so much to, like, I don't know. I feel like it's going to take this whole movie just to set up these characters and explain the crisis or whatever the fuck is going on. So, yeah, of course it's going to be messy. You're moving, especially with the whole multiverse stuff going on, like, we're going to have to move from one place to another, explain why they're in danger, why they're even getting together. It's not going to work out. It's going to be a mess.
Yes, this is something we've been saying like from the very beginning. Look, can we just be real here? From the very moment that this project was announced and they had like RDJ get out there as Doom at Comic-Con, this was giving bad vibes.
Mm-hmm.
And some people are even saying that the entire way through, it's been giving Rise of Skywalker bad vibes. With even the botched chairs fiasco with the people who were in this.
Mm-hmm.
To now the reports of there actually being a mess. Because of course, why wouldn't there be a mess? And then we have something like this,
Mm-hmm.
which is art that supposedly features a lot of the main stars. And many people posting online saying, this is a problem that I feel absolutely nothing. This image makes me feel nothing, is a sentiment that I have come across all too often online. I'm not ready to make a prediction just yet. There's a chance they may save this movie. There's a chance it may not even be that bad. But there's, I think, an even better chance, based on everything we know, this is kind of doomed to fail. No pun intended, because this is basically Infinity War all over again, except you have to spend the movie itself to set up characters and situations, because Infinity War benefited from there being how many movies of setup?
Oh, yeah.
Like 20 or whatever, 18, whatever movies there were. This is a film that has 0 movies leading up to it.
Mm-hmm.
How do you make this work?
Yeah. I mean, that was
On top of the fact, by the way, that I bet you, I mean, I already saw that, keep in mind, Endgame cost them $350 million. And Endgame looked good, all things considered. Right now, the reported budget is between, I mean, I'm just saying right now, who knows what more reshoots will add on to it, but at the lowest number that I've seen is $400 million, over $400 million. And I think it maybe the final one might, some people are even saying rumors that it's already hitting $500 million just to make the movie.
and it's not gonna make it's not gonna make its money back at all. It's gonna fail, and even if it makes $1 billion, it's gonna fail. How is that even possible?
I think it could hit $1 billion. It would be an embarrassment if it doesn't. I'll tell you that.
It doesn't matter if it makes $1 billion though. Like
it can't be profitable.
It's
at
not
this
profit.
Point, right?
It's not
is what
profitable.
You're saying.
Especially with people nowadays, like, you know, if a movie has a budget of $200 million and it makes $400 million, like, cool, you made your money back, but you kind of have to make more than that to kind of consider yourself a success. And so, even if it reaches $1 billion, like, that's not a success. That's just pure failure. You just made your money back. You made this movie for absolutely no reason. So,
yeah, this. I'm sorry, man. This is just giving the vibes that the last season that Game of Thrones gave me, or Rise of Skywalker. I think we're there, And I think we need to be prepared for what happens after, because if that does in fact happen, this is like the anti 2019 for Disney, because it would have meant that a Marvel film, an Avengers movie, and a Star Wars film failed.
Mm-hmm.
What else do you got?
Yeah.
You don't got anything else.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this is not. Well, actually, kind of worse for Disney is that they don't make any money off of Spider-Man. Not really, not all that much. But that's the other thing in the air right now. I should say in the wind. Spider-Man: Brand New Day. That one might actually, because it has Spider-Man in the name, and because the trailers have seemed decent, that might be immune to all of these problems happening with comic book movies. We're going to get into Supergirl right now, but I think Spider-Man is not going to suffer the same fate, because for one, Spider-Man in a lot of ways is too big to fail. I guess people really enjoy the Tom Holland movies. They like him in that role, and I think that's going to bring people back no matter what. The trailers have not been terrible, so I think that's... I mean, people are saying that this has probably $1 billion written all over it. I would be surprised if it doesn't hit $1 billion, honestly, at this point. I haven't even seen it opened, but I'm pretty sure the numbers will be big. Now, I don't know how well this movie will be received. In some ways, it makes it kind of difficult for people to be reacting the same way, because No Way Home, the last movie, had that nostalgia play with the other Spider-Man, you know, and it almost hit $2 billion. I don't know if this one will get to that point. It would be pretty insane if it does, but I have my doubts. But in any case, at least the MCU might survive the year with just that movie succeeding, because, and I'm not even saying that Doomsday won't make money, but if the movie's already that expensive, profitability is probably out of the question at this point. And that's not even getting into the territory of whether or not people receive it all that well. And that, in a lot of ways, is just as important, because we've now reached the age where these films are no longer too big to fail. No longer is bad okay, mediocre, even decent. Like, we're at a point now where audiences, I think, they've so lost their patience with the comic book genre that unless the film is received as great as a must-see, people are not going to check it out. I think we're at the point genuinely that if your name is, if you're an X-Man, a Spider-Man, a Batman, a Superman, an Avengers, you're going to be a hit no matter what. You have the name in the title, it'll be a hit. Any other comic book character really needs to be great in order to have a chance, because I think people have they've lost interest in all the universes. They've lost interests in these movies in general, because they all have now just become the same. You know, a lot of people don't remember that, you know, why do rom-coms and comedies kind of like no longer have that much of a presence in movie theaters? There's a lot of reasons why, but one primary reason for why they fell out of favor among a lot of people is they all just kind of became the same movie. And I think the comic book genre is in that crisis right now, where a lot of them are just quite frankly bad, and they're all bad in the same ways. They all suffer from the same reasons, and they all look like garbage. Let me ask you, David, I'm going to give you a challenge. Name 5 good comic book movies that have come out since 2020, and Across the Spider-Verse does not count.
I don't even know what's come out. I can't even remember what's come out. Like, I know it's the Spider-Man movies.
There's Shang-Chi, Eternals, Love and Thunder, Multiverse of Madness. There's Blue Beetle. There's The Flash, Shazam, Black Adam, Joker movies. There's been Deadpool and Wolverine, Thunderbolts. But none of them I think are great. I just did a whole bunch of not.
Joker is
Well, that's not 2020. That's below. Sorry, I meant this Joker Folly Ado.
Oh, okay, then never mind then. I was in Folly Ado. Really, that was before 2020. Holy shit. Okay, then probably the only one I can say is Eternals. That's like probably really good.
Eternals. Okay, I would say they're Eternals. Yes, I think it's a good movie. People hate it, but I genuinely like that movie. I'll put the obvious ones. The Batman. The
Yeah.
Superman.
Yeah. Batman, Superman
Um,
for sure.
Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3.
Mm-hmm.
The Suicide Squad.
Oh yeah, that looks that one's great.
The James Gunn Suicide Squad. And this is where I begin to draw a blank as to like what else.
Deadpool
that
and
I
Wolverine
like.
was fun.
Oh yeah, I guess people really like that one.
Yeah, I don't know. But I mean, that's the thing though. Now we're getting into like going like, is it really that great? You know, is it really?
People love No Way Home, but I don't even acknowledge that as a movie. Honestly, I don't ever think about it.
It just keeps. The more I think about it, the more I just dislike it. Honestly.
Yeah, honestly, I
hate
feel the
saying
same
that.
way.
You know, the only good thing about it is just Tobey Maguire in it.
Yeah,
but
Alfred
everything
Molina
else-
is good, and what's his name? Willem Dafoe is good as always. I mean,
Yeah, well,
they give good performances.
yeah, anything with the Raimi stuff, it's great.
Yeah,
What's his name? The other Spider-Man, Andrew
Garfield.
Garfield. You know, he's also good. He has a cool character arc of sorts, I guess you could say, and all that. Like, they're great. But everything with the main Spider-Man, it really bothers me, and I just got a sour taste in my mouth afterwards. My people going like, "Hooray, he's suffering," and I'm like, "Oh." I don't like
Yeah,
this.
well, I mean, we'll see how Brand New Day turns out. I don't have high hopes because we all know they're going to introduce an X-Men character in there, Jean Grey. Why that character is in there,
Don't know.
I don't know why you would do that, but okay. So look, the genre is in dire straits,
Mm-hmm.
and I didn't even mention there was like bombs in there, like The Flash, Aquaman was a bomb. There was another Shazam movie that was a bomb. The Marvels. Jesus Christ. There's been so many of these movies that have just not been great. Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania, which was really, really bad.
Yep.
Just so many bad ones. So, yeah, I think that, and this is a good, I think, pretext to the conversation we're about to have, which is about Supergirl. A movie that we saw 3 weeks ago. I forget at this point how many weeks it was, but you know, David, I think you and I agreed coming out of it, it is a movie.
It's a movie.
Directed by Craig Gillespie. Truth, Justice, Whatever is the sponsor letterbox description. When an unexpected and ruthless adversary strikes too close to home, Kara Zor-El, aka Supergirl, reluctantly agrees to join forces with an unlikely companion on an epic interstellar. Does she ever agree to do that? Okay. Interstellar journey of vengeance and justice, starring Millie Alcock, Eve Ridley, Matthias Schoenaerts, David Krumholtz, and Jason Momoa.
The movie's a mess. There's just no other way to say it. I
You take it away, man.
yeah, we were driving from the theater. I just told you straight up, I'm struggling to even say this is an okay movie. It wasn't even that, sadly. It just, the whole character is a mess. You're trying to give her background of like what happened to her, and then give her some, I don't even think she even got an arc at all in this movie. She just accepts that she's something and then saves
I think
the day.
the movie thinks that there was an arc.
Yeah, it thinks that, but it just wasn't executed well because everything that they showed just felt unrelated to each other. You see you see what happened to her in Krypton, with her family, and then she gets to Earth, and we don't see anything that happens to her at Earth. She just accepts it, and then somehow that leads to her trying to help this girl to not take revenge, but don't understand why that's related at all. I kind of wish this movie was taking place, and this kind of just should have been like a Superman sequel. It just, of her getting there And which honestly, that's kind of what I thought when James Gunn was first announced to run the DC movies. I was like, do that. Superman, then Superman 2, she shows up, put Martian Manhunter or something in there too. I don't know, just put some other alien, and then you keep moving forward from there. But I just, yeah, it's just, I can barely even call this a story. They just go to one place to another, and the amount of times the story had to like work around to get her weak, it was just too much. It happened way too many times. This should have been, for one thing, this movie should have been shorter. Although I think it was already pretty short. I think it was like an hour.
It was
45.
short and it felt eternal.
Yes.
It felt eternal. I'll tell you, I by the last 15 minutes, I was on my last life.
Mm-hmm.
I was like just begging for this thing. The sound system was a great sound system, but it was so loud to the point where I'm like, somebody please put me out of my misery.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, it wasn't a good movie. It's a mess. I don't understand how this was even greenlit. Which
I think, yeah, this is pretty obviously. I think it would have been better off. I think everyone would have been better off if this film just didn't exist. If this is what we were going to get, to tell you the truth, because I think top down, left, right, all the way around, everything this movie does is either a complete misfire or it just doesn't work on any level whatsoever. And I mean literally everything, every detail, every aspect, every quality about this movie, nothing really works. Millie Alcock's performance as the character, if it ever has moments where she's charming or entertaining, and I'm saying if very charitable here, but if there are ever moments where she kind of gets you to like go with her vibe, it's because of her.
Yeah.
The writing is not really servicing her at all, and she kind of has to make her own way through it. And I think, look, I'll tell you, I can totally see this character coming back and me enjoying her if James Gunn directs and writes it, but I can't fathom for the life of me there ever being a trilogy of these movies, because this in and of itself was barely even a movie. I don't even understand when someone reads the script like James Gunn did, how they could have possibly thought that this was not just good enough, but worthy of it being a feature film presentation. It somehow feels like the leftovers of a rejected Supergirl miniseries. It feels so uncinematic in so many ways. I mean, just for a start, let me just show you what Letterboxd has here as the background for this movie. They got 3 characters in this background here. 2 of those characters, quite frankly, have no business being part of this movie. They have no business being part of this story. And unfortunately, they're in large parts of this movie, and anytime they're on screen, they kind of bring the whole thing down, even lower than where it already is. The way that these characters are used in and of themselves are kind of a disaster. The way they kind of are used to propel the story and the narrative and whatever arc it thinks it's going for is somehow even worse. And that's just for a start. The problems that we have here. We have massive problems with characterization for every character. A confused script, through line arc, if there ever was one for Kara. Millie Alcock, I think, quite frankly, doesn't even know what to do sometimes, and she just kind of like bumbles her way through the movie because that's all the film has her doing.
So many one-liners from her, and she can barely make it work. And she's a good actress,
Right.
okay? Like, watch House of the Dragon. She's
Yes,
a good
yes.
actress. She can barely make it work. It was just really tough to watch, especially when she would get those one-liners. I'm like, oh my gosh, you're trying so hard. Why are they even doing this? And then I remember people being like, oh, Lobo was great. Just Momoa was like really good in this. He's hamming it up.
When we watched the movie, David, I heard somebody behind me say Lobo was the best part.
Yeah, I think I heard that too somewhere. And like, I was kind of looking forward to his performance because I really thought by the time he was gonna show up, I'm like, okay, I might find some entertainment with him showing up. not really. Like, he's not bad or anything. He is a good Lobo. But he couldn't give me like an extra 1% of entertainment, and it's like, what the hell? So
Momoa does what he's asked to do, but that's the problem. Is like, this was not the movie to put him in, and so his presence feels unwarranted, and in a lot of spots unwanted. I think ultimately all the problems come back to characterization, and all of those problems come back to script issues. The decision to have Lobo in this movie was disastrous, because every time he was on, and anytime he's meant to be humorous or comedic, I couldn't really gel with it. It just felt off. It felt like I was watching a different movie. It didn't really flow with what was being presented. Not that I was really gelling with whatever was already being there, but it didn't mix at all. And then like I'm asking myself, like, ultimately, where did that lead to? It really went nowhere. All it went is he, I guess, got somewhat involved in the end by blowing people up. And then when Kara is having her big character moment of like killing the bad guy, and then we cut to him and he's like, tits.
Yeah.
And then he like rides off of the screen. And I'm like, is that what?
I feel like they had an idea for him, but they just didn't do it right, which is that he's supposed to be like the devil to that one girl's, shoulder, while Supergirl's supposed to be the angel.
If that's what they were doing, then what an incompetent script this is, because it's just not there at all.
It's what they should have done from the beginning, because you're saying like Lobo shouldn't be in this. I'm like, no, he should have been more in this movie, because like I said, like he should have been the devil and Supergirl's the angel of that girl's shoulder. And then when she decides, not to kill the guy, then Supergirl comes in, kills him. And it's just like, oh no, she wasn't like a full angel this whole time. She was just, helping this girl. And spoilers, by the way, but like, fucking who cares? And so they just did not utilize him well at all. And then, like I said too,
well, David, hold on, can we just stop right there? Because that's okay. That movie could have worked. The one that you were saying about the whole devil and the angel thing. But here's why I think in some ways that also wouldn't have worked either. Why is this girl even here in the first place? Yeah. It is so strange to revolve so much, in many ways, the whole movie around this random no-name girl character, putting her on like a supposed John Wick, revenge arc, and then having so much of Kara's story be like, don't be like me. You can't be like me. First of all, Supergirl, we barely know who you are.
Yeah.
And so this is such a strange, bizarre, and confused take and direction to take this character into. Not just, from the moments where it feels actively like it doesn't know what it wants to say or do, but then when it gets to the very end of the film, and then you kind of realize, is this really where you were going? Because what is this even here for? Like, you're going to say that she's this character who the entire time is like, oh no, don't become like me. You can't be like me. But turn your eyes around while I kill this guy at the very end. Like, you can't even get that like consistent. You can't even get that down. And so I'm saying Lobo shouldn't have been in the movie. The other girl shouldn't have been in the movie. Like this whole story was not a worthy feature story.
Yeah.
The only parts in this that actually felt like I was being transported into a different movie that I actually would have wanted to see was this movie only ever became interesting when it was either flashbacking to Krypton or to when she first gets to Earth with David Cornsweet's Superman character on screen with her. Those were the only parts of the movie where it felt like it came alive, where I'm like, okay, this is what I thought we were going to get. And this feels more like what a traditional Supergirl movie should be.
Yep.
And gee whiz, maybe that's why I'm kind of like vibing with it more. Everything else that's happening, first of all, looks ugly, abysmal, disgustingly gray, nothing of any color. And then the moments that it does have color, it feels like it's like from a dollar bin ripoff from the Guardians of the Galaxy or Star Wars movie. Like it has no character. It has no life. It has no identity. It feels Like it's copycatting so many things, and it is. And if you thought that was bad, it gets worse though.
Mhm.
The action is uniquely terrible. It gets to a point where, you know, the sound is so loud and so many people are flying left and right. I tune it out. I don't even care anymore. I just at some point I'm like I literally just like space out because it is not interested enough in getting me invested into what's going on. The action scenes are universally all over the place. Well, yeah, they're all over the place, but they're all just bad. There's not one good scene in here as far as action is concerned. And then also, kind of a uniquely bad movie in the sense that every single needle drop,
Oh my god.
a disaster.
Yeah.
A disaster. Every single one fell flat. And then there were a few that were, I mean, I even saw somebody say that there was one needle drop in the film that made me disintegrate in my seat. There was one I saw right now on Letterboxd, one saying that needle drop was so ridiculous, they could have played We Are Charlie Kirk and the scene would have been much harder. Would have been much harder, you know?
That would have been
and
so funny.
it's true. So it's like
Yeah.
everywhere you look, this movie is just awful.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead.
I definitely hate those needle drops for sure. I think that's like the worst thing for me because you have a Supergirl movie, you know, first one in a long time. I know we got the CW show and all that, but like, you know, shows and movies are completely different, especially with
That
movies.
was then, this is now, you know?
Yeah.
Different time.
And so you have this movie coming out and you couldn't take the chance of like making your own score or like, you know, getting someone to make their own score for this character to make it like as unique and amazing as the Superman like score, or even like, you know, I don't blame James Gunn for using that, you know, the John Williams score for his movie. It's like, yeah, because it's fucking perfect. You couldn't take a chance on that. Instead, you try to go for what James Gunn is doing, like with his movies. And Ale, she's when we were talking about that, the whole needle drops and all that, she was trying to be forgiving, a bit more forgiving about the movie. How like the writers probably did that just to like
Look,
hopefully get greenlit by James
I
Gunn.
will, in the spirit of goodwill, I will extend that benefit of the doubt in the sense that I just think in general, we've reached a point where needle drops in comic book movies are so overused that for the most part in any movie, they don't really work on me that well anymore. And I feel strongly that we need to move back in the direction of traditional orchestral scores, like a la John Williams. And I do believe this movie would have benefited from there actually being a theme that actually was, you know, good. I guess there was a theme here, and it was a terrible score. There was no impression made on the music at all. But the needle drops in this film were genuinely terrible because they added nothing. They added nothing whatsoever to anything that was going on. And to me, it really calls into question if James Gunn really wants to allow these movies to grow beyond him and to adopt other styles. I took him at his word when he said that he was going to allow these other creatives to explore their own style of filmmaking, you know? But in a lot of ways, and it could be because they realized the movie wasn't coming together and they had to like, you know, stitch it together. But like a lot of the bad things in this film come across as if somebody was trying to do a copycat performance of what James Gunn does. James Gunn, I think, is singular in that he can pick a needle drop for anything and it works. Yeah. But nobody else can copycat him. And I think he, even though the reports say that he helped pick the songs for the moments, at that point it's too far gone to rework or rewrite anything. And so you're trying to find a song that fits and fits and fits. But I do think that people are justified in saying that one instance at the end of the film, when we're doing that circular slow motion thing and that song comes on, and legit to me, I felt embarrassed for the movie. Honestly.
Yeah. It was, I don't know, man. That was absolutely insane when you heard that song because, like, I understand what you're trying to go for when you put this song, but it's not the right time, my guy. This should have been, you know, like the Superman theme, basically. Like that's what you put it on, but instead you put a fucking needle drop. You put that song specifically too, which is a good song and all that, but it's just
And then also, David, notice how the audience that we had was, for the most part, throughout the entirety of the movie, silent.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It was silent.
Yeah. Not many cheers, not many laughs, honestly. It was just dead in there, honestly.
I think we were all in disbelief that it was that bad.
Yeah. And I mean, bringing up James Gunn, that's kind of like another really big disappointing thing about this movie.
Yes.
The biggest reason we were excited about James Gunn taking over DC is because we thought, okay, cool, you got a guy who wrote and directed some pretty good movies. He's gonna look at some scripts and go, yes, this is great. Let's greenlight it. And we were very questionable about the lineup of movies that he had and shows too, because he got the Lanterns show coming out. But we kind of thought, you know what, if these are good, doesn't matter what order you go in, it's fine. Like, as long as these are good.
The important thing is that they're good.
Yeah.
That's the important thing that matters. You want to make an Amanda Waller show? I mean, okay, as long as it's good. But you're gonna make a Mr. Terrific or a Jimmy Olsen show. I don't think you need to do that, but if it's good, okay. I mean, a show is okay,
Expand the world, give us something interesting, set something up so that we can go, hey, you know what? That was actually on this thing if you want to try it out. Because if it's good, it's cool to go back on them. And then we get this Supergirl movie and we're like, what happened here? Like, where did your mind go in this? Were you high when you're reading the script and thought this was amazing, or what? Like, what the hell's going on here, dude? So it doesn't lead well, my guy. We were entertained. We enjoyed Superman and all that. What happened here? I don't know.
Superman and Supergirl could not be more different. As far as, everything really, as far as I'm concerned.
Mm-hmm.
This is the thing that we may have to accept. And this is why I said earlier that it may not even be worth investing so much energy and time and effort into James Gunn's DCU. I mentioned earlier because, well, whenever MAGA Mount controls WB, what happens going forward, I don't know. But here's the good news. The Superman 2, Man of Tomorrow, I'm sure that'll be amazing. I have enjoyed every little thing that James Gunn himself has written and directed on the screen, big screen.
Yeah.
Has not missed yet. I'm sure I have no concerns about that movie. No matter how overstuffed it would be, people are saying, Man of Tomorrow seems it's gonna have like, the same characters back. Supergirl. I even heard that Blue Beetle is gonna be in the movie, and I'm like, okay, well, we've been here before. I think people were saying, well, Superman itself had like a whole bunch of characters and it just seemed over. I just think, I think we have to come to the conclusion that he is a talented writer and a director. But just because you are a talented writer and director does not necessarily mean you have good taste.
Mm-hmm.
As weird as that is to say out loud, we may have to come around to that idea because we can't ignore. Now, in a lot of ways, this moment feels like, maybe we should have taken those warnings a little bit more seriously. And I'm going to tell you what warnings specifically right now.
Yeah.
Okay. So, first of all, James Gunn didn't have to do this. I think we all just assumed that maybe he was being forced to, but he really put his name out there and went hard at the idea that he loved that Flash movie.
Yeah.
And that he was working so hard with David Zaslav to get it released. In retrospect, they shouldn't have released it. But anyway, especially with all the whole Ezra Miller controversy. I mean, that was a whole saga in and of itself. But he went out of his way. He didn't have to say he loved it. But he said, a movie I love. There's video of him out there saying it.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess you have to take him at his word. And if you don't, well, look at what he did after. He loved that movie so much that he hired the director, Andy Muschietti, to do Batman, Brave and the Bold.
Mm-hmm.
It's red flag number 1.
Yeah.
Right there. Then, then we have the situation with, Supergirl, which in and of itself is a massive problem. Okay. You took a look at the script and you liked the script because you let it go to shoot. Who wrote this script? First-time screenwriter Anna Nogueira. He liked her script so much, she put her to work on not 1 but 2 projects.
Mm-hmm.
I think a Titans project and the Wonder Woman movie. He read this script and he said, you know what? This person here, I'm going to give her Wonder Woman.
Mm-hmm. And I know people were complaining about how, like, why she even got this Supergirl script writing gig in the first place. I don't mind that. Like, it's fine that, you know, she didn't have prior work before and got to work on this. Like, you never know. This could have been her one and only greatest script ever, and then that's it. But to not have waited for this to come, I know he should have, you know, looked at the script and say whether it's good or not, but like that didn't happen. But at the very least, wait until the fucking movie comes out before you give her more, so that, you know, people could have pointed out stuff that you didn't notice. I mean, in a world there, like, where this was a good movie, there were problems with it. Let people point that out. You work on it, you know, talk to her, going like, all right, you know, this is what people were saying about it. Let's work on, if you want to do something else, let's work on it. Like, that's kind of what you have to do. So the idea to have given her 2 other movies to work on before this one came out absolutely makes no sense for me. So,
yeah, but I think this is a second instance where it speaks to perhaps bad taste here. And then we have the other thing here that we should mention. Grace Randolph has said that, according to sources she has at Marvel Studios, James Gunn was the big reason why Marvel ended up keeping and elevating Peyton Reed so long as they did. Peyton Reed, the director of all the Ant-Man movies.
mm-hmm.
Because he liked him and his work.
Okay.
So now we have 3 instances of Gunn hiring, elevating, and promoting people who have very bad track records. Peyton Reed, Anna Nogueira, and Annie Muschietti. It very well could be Gunn might not have, I think he has the right set of principles, but he may not just have the taste to tell between what is good and what is not, because it's not just that he's missing the mark. He's hiring some pretty bad, I mean,
you
I don't even know what can I say at this point. I mean, this is bad stuff.
Yeah.
Why would I? At this point, I'm at the point where I'm like, well, unless he's writing and directing, I don't know. Who knows? But that in and of itself does not make for a cinematic universe. So where are we? We're in the same place again. Last year, we were at the beginning of a new era. We were like, wow, this movie was so good. Superman, I can actually see an entire universe coming to life because how good this movie was. A year later, it all just looks like it's dead.
Yeah.
David.
No, yeah, I absolutely hate it. And like, I wish I can say that maybe he got these people because there were some like good chemistry between them, that they can work together to make something great. But the Supergirl movie comes out and now you're like, okay, there's clearly not, I don't know, there's miscommunication, no communication, or whatever the fuck. something's off here. And I hate to say this, but like, the reason why he would elevate people like this who don't have background on any other movie or, didn't make a good movie previously, is because he wants to take full control of it. And it's like, that's kind of like my only thing I can think of, which sucks because
then you're just Kevin Feige. Then you're just Kevin Feige at that point.
But at this point, though, kind of worse though, because at the very least, I don't know. Actually, I can't even give a comparison. I don't know. It's just I feel like it just sounds worse.
Like he does anything than what he already does. Like he doesn't pretend like he, waits for a script. They do what they do. They never learn from any other mistakes. They shoot without a script, and that's what my thing is. Like, I don't think James Gunn was wrong to have that idea. In fact, more studios like Kevin Feige should have that mentality to have a complete script before you go in to shoot anything.
Mm-hmm.
And yet a whole bunch of these people and journalists were out there making fun of him. But you know what? Okay, it's deserved. This movie was bad and this script was uniquely terrible. And it kind of makes James Gunn look like an idiot for sure. But at the same time, we should not dismiss studio heads taking seriously the idea that maybe it makes the most sense in the world to have a complete script before you shoot a fucking movie.
Yeah.
Here's Georgia Coley. Watching this feels like time traveling to somewhere around 2017. Just tired trope after tired trope, full of elements ripped from better movies and executed without flair or real depth. Millie Alcock is a star, and she is the only thing that keeps this remotely watchable. But the rest is just boring beyond belief, and a nice reminder that we've officially moved from the era of dejected anti-heroes who have to be reminded to care again. That story has been done before and done well, but every moment where Superman was on screen here just reminded me how much his sincerity, belief in goodness and righteousness is really what feels resonant in today's moment. A few random nitpicks. I cannot believe how many excuses this movie comes up with to depower Kara and have her get her ass beat by random thugs. That was a problem.
Yeah.
That kept pissing me off. The red/yellow sun device felt like enough fodder for that, but somehow they still concoct poison and a kryptonite sun and a kryptonite arrows, and it just becomes comical after a certain point. Is kryptonite really that easily accessible to people in the intergalactic world? Too many needle drops in this and not enough of the score, which is actually good when they lean into it. Well, I mean, I don't remember the score at all, so I can't tell you that. And then there's the queen of the tropes. This movie has easily the worst rendition of killing your enemy won't bring you peace trope I've ever seen. There are many, many movies where I've seen that idea done well, and broadly, I tend to agree that killing and taking revenge aren't the answer, especially when the action comes from a place of hate and grasping at control. But the Ruthie character here have never once feels like she actually is in full of rage or self-destructive anger. She is extremely methodical and composed throughout, which makes her desire to kill the guy pretty reasonable and pragmatic. Kara tells her if you kill him, it will live with you forever. Does Kara know anything about this? Has she ever taken vengeance on anyone? We don't see that, but I don't know. I kind of think that the fact that an innocent family died because Ruthie didn't get to kill him is going to live with her longer. That's not to mention that the movie does the hero thoughtlessly kills countless faceless goons in battle, but can't bring themselves to kill the one in charge thing again. I just didn't buy it. And the fact that Kara ultimately goes ahead and takes him out just makes her seem like she's unwilling to let Ruthie have agency and self-determination. Let the girl do it. It's her life and her family. Seriously. This was so lame and I am so sad. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is, I think that, yeah, it's disappointing, lame, and sad, and not something I think anyone's ever going to want to think about ever again. That's the movie. Anyway, that's that. Now we can go ahead and move on to our next, and this should be our final movie to talk about today. Toy Story 5. When Bonnie receives a lily pad tablet as a gift and becomes obsessed, Buzz, Woody, Jesse, and the rest of the gang's jobs become exponentially harder when they have to go ahead and head to head with the all-new threat to playtime. Regardless of what is going to be said, we have to remind and acknowledge the audience of this. This is in the same company as Mandalorian and Grogu, Lilo and Stitch, Moana 2, Zootopia 2, Inside Out 2, as a list of projects that Bob Iger greenlit the first day he came back as a means to make the most amount of money in the quickest amount of time as possible. And due to that, I believe, and we've believed throughout the entirety of this time, that none of those projects had any creative integrity. Inside Out 2, Moana 2, Zootopia 2, Mandalorian and Grogu, Lilo and Stitch. Not 1 ounce of creative integrity among them. On top of that, most of them being flat out bad in and of themselves. And the Moana live action remake, I should also put in that same category. This, in a lot of ways, has become the ire of a lot of conversation, because we just were, the idea of this movie existing in the first place felt very uniquely insulting, because this is a franchise that had already concluded itself not once but twice over. And it just felt like this was going to join the list of those other movies I mentioned, where they quite frankly were actively not very good. For an animated movie, it takes at least 4 years to get it done well. Moana 2, Zootopia 2, Inside Out 2 did not have 4 years' time. I would really be surprised if they had 2 years' time to get whatever stories they were in those films put together. So I just want to be reminded of that in case anybody forgot, and why this exists. This film is in an interesting spot, because I think, surprisingly, compared to those other ones, and Inside Out 2, Zootopia 2, Moana 2, Moana live action remake, Lilo and Stitch, Mando and Grogu. Unlike all those others, there does seem to be a genuine creative force here. There does seem to be a genuine voice, a point of view, and dare I even say, moments of joy, entertainment, and excitement, and emotion, in such a way that is so absent from so many of those other films. It also is in a weird spot where it doesn't completely end up being a 10 out of 10 wowzer of a movie, in the sense that it is like, oh my God, where did this come from? I have very complicated feelings about this film's
execution
place in,
yeah.
Well, execution's one thing, but yeah, obviously, but I mean the film's place in the Toy Story series as a movie by itself. If this didn't have the name Toy Story on it, I think I would be far more forgiving, to tell you the truth. But because it is in that same realm of the Toy Story movies, it's kind of, in a lot of ways, has an uphill battle to justify its existence, because it comes after the franchise had already concluded itself 2 times, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So we watched this movie, and we've had a couple of weeks to think about this movie. I've since gone back and seen this 2 more times, because I wasn't all the way 100% sure how I felt about it. It left me quite befuddled and not sure what to think of it. I walked away initially feeling like I enjoyed parts of it, disliked parts of it. And yeah, and I'm still in a place where I'm not sure all the way through. I can tell you what didn't happen. This is not the disaster I thought it would be. This is not, on paper, a bad movie.
Mm-hmm.
This is not egregious. This is not embarrassing. This is also not great. It's not amazing. I mean, as a whole, I feel like, to me, this whole movie felt episodic, in the sense that if this were another episode in a Toy Story series, perhaps I would give it higher marks. I also feel like in the midst of people were very quick, and you remember this, it's been like almost a month, it feels like, that this movie has been out, but like people were like, oh yeah, automatically better than 4. Okay. Some people were saying better than 1. Some people were saying better than 3. Ann Thompson, editor-in-chief at IndieWire, said it was the best Toy Story sequel since 1999.
Yeah.
So, I'm very, very much mixed on the reaction, on what I feel about the movie. What I'm not mixed on is, I actually love what this movie does to the character of Jessie.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a character that's, for a long time now, needed to have her do. I've watched this 3 times now, and I've actually settled to the idea that with what it does with Jessie, I actually quite enjoy, and dare I even say in moments, love what it does with it. I guess if you say, like, maybe people would be a lot more forgiving of Toy Story 4 if it was called Woody, a Toy Story story. Well, this movie is really Jessie, a Toy Story story. It's not really Toy Story 5.
Yeah.
And I do feel that this is a special movie as far as, like, little girls are concerned, children are concerned, parents are concerned as well. I think there's a lot of things in here to, like, go over, David, as we will get into this review, that work. There's actually some quite obvious things that work really not at all, in such obvious ways that the other films didn't have those deficiencies. But let me just tell you one thing I wanted to begin with, that how this movie made me feel. And this is maybe part of why I was left a little bit dry walking out of it. Every time I've left this movie, it's made me feeling really sad. And not sad because, it like ruined the franchise, or, it's not as good as I wanted it to be. It just, the sequences that show in the movie, adults and children alike, lost in a screen. As a human, it makes me feel really, really sad that we as a people can never get our act together, and how we let this happen to society, that we've ruined playtime for kids. And that's just one thing we've ruined, where we've ruined social time for kids and adults alike, that we've, by design or not, by intent or not, we have allowed a society to exist like the one that is depicted in that movie. So, beyond whatever this movie says or does or whatever, that element has lingered with me. And I'm not going to lie to you, it's kind of depressed me. And I guess one would say, well, you know what, Alexis, that in some ways could be one of the intended effects of what the movie is trying to communicate. But it depresses me even more knowing that most people that watch this, parents, are not going to give a fuck what this is saying. Because I've been seeing and reading so many reports of people who've just been on their phones while this movie is playing. How ironic is that, considering what the movie is trying to communicate there? So that in and of itself is just one thing that kind of like hangs over my thoughts about this movie, where I kind of just like get sad over the situations that happen because they're happening in real life. And I've seen for myself firsthand what damage technology and screen time and tablets have done to kids' social cues, their social skills, their social language has been so decimated by it. And that doesn't even include the fact that the whole tablet and screen craze has introduced kids to a whole other realm of like following streamers and a bunch of people who quite frankly are quite odious and incompetent, and not people like Clavicular, who are like, why is that person somebody who is like a thing? Or people who are freaking Mr. Beast. And I'm like, we were better off as a society when we were watching, I don't know, go to PBS and watch Arthur or Dragon Tales or fucking Disney Channel or Nickelodeon or Cartoon. I mean, that stuff, frankly, when we were children, we were all being told, all that stuff will rot your mind. We had amazing children's programming. It was very much educational and has shaped the people who we are today. These tablets and screens have created a gateway into people following the worst of the worst influencers. Like, who wants to be associated with that filth, that trash? So it's that's a huge part of it. But yeah, I guess I like this movie, but I also feel that it's even worse that there are parts of the movie that are so embarrassingly weak, because if you could have fixed those, I could have totally seen the argument that this is a great Toy Story film. I could definitely see it in there, but I think it kind of didn't know how to get around it. And you know what I'm talking about. But ultimately,
yeah.
I've enjoyed my times watching the film. I think it is entertaining. There are moments where I actually do like the movie, but I don't think I'm wrong in saying that this probably is going to age the weakest for me. And I think it already is, in a lot of ways, the weakest movie of the bunch. Your thoughts, David, on this movie? And I'm sorry for taking a long time. I know I just, you can tell in how I'm talking about it, I'm still not settled on this movie.
No, I'm with you. Pretty much feeling the same way. I was entertained. There were some really funny moments. And this is just Jessie movie. Jessie, a Toy Story story. Which I don't mind, because I like the character. I liked what she went through in this movie. The background stuff that we got from her, and where she's gonna move forward on. I really do enjoy that. I was hoping that would happen after Toy Story 4. She's the sheriff and all that.
Yes.
I kind of wish, though, that there was more to the other toys, though. They don't have to be the main characters, but they were literally just put in the box and then set to the side. So that's one thing. And then I wish there was more with Buzz between the two of them. You set this movie up to really not
they
so
actually
much
spend a lot of the movie apart, don't they?
Basically the whole movie apart, even though there's a big focus on their relationship.
Yeah.
I mean, even that's saying, I feel like I'm saying that wrong. It's like there wasn't really a big focus. Like there was just,
oh, it's there.
The relationship
that's Buzz's.
is there.
That's really more Buzz's story in this movie. Jessie is like, in a lot of ways, she's already kind of like, she doesn't even get I'm sure maybe she sees it coming, but the way that this movie treats it is, Jessie probably had no idea this was happening at all, but she at some point expected this to happen. She's like, okay, whatever. Yeah. But him and Jessie becoming like official was the main Buzz Lightyear's story in this movie. Jessie really wasn't involved in that at all. I think that's kind of a problem.
Yeah, for sure. Because it's like, did she even care about the relationship? I can obviously guess that like she was going to be for the relationship either way, but it's like, why did it have to be such a big deal for Buzz then? if like that was just gonna happen. If you're going to have a focus on the relationship, I would have liked more of it. Like, what are their ups and downs on it? What exactly do they both bring each other within the relationship? But that just wasn't really happening. So there's stuff like that that I kind of bothers me. But overall, like I like the Jessie character. I liked what she went through. I had it fun. Uh, there's just that focus though of like it is a toy story, not just a one character story and all that. Which I mean, I don't mind it in the long run, but the problem though is that I feel like every single one of them is gonna go through the same arc of just I gotta accept the fact that my kid is growing up, and it's like cool. What else is there, And so, um, when I say that this is a franchise that needs to die, I'm not saying that because it's gone bad, because I dislike it. It's just there is literally nowhere else for you to go, with this story. There was a good idea going on with the iPad thing or lily pad thing, but even then, there wasn't enough, uh, like creativity going on within that. It's mostly just surface level stuff, if that makes any sense. Like the idea, like there was
Yes.
I guess we can get into like spoiler
Yes.
territory, but like there
Yeah,
was a
let's go ahead and
moment.
get into it.
There was a moment after. Oh, what's the girl's name?
Bonnie?
Bonnie. She was playing with the lily pad for like a long time, and then she goes to sleep, wakes up, and is immediately like, "Oh my gosh, I gotta use the thing. You gotta use the thing. Dad, where's the thing? It doesn't have any battery. What's going on?" And it's just like she's freaking out, and Dad's just like, "Okay, chill, boy, breakfast. Let this thing charge." But it's like, I feel like you should put more of a focus on her reaction. Like the fact that she was so addicted to it should probably worry you,
Yeah.
So but there's
Bonnie's
no focus.
parents make a lot of questionable decisions, I
Mhm.
feel.
Yeah. So, and that's kind of the problem when you keep going forward with this franchise, because like then you gotta, really start focusing on the parents, their relationships to it. Like what exactly can you work this out? The original Toy Story is like, at least the first two, the parents are just the kid and the parents are just away. So it's just a focus on the toys and all that. But because they gotta get creative on like making things different. Now they thought about making the kid and the parents more involved within the toys, but it's just leading to problems. So yeah, like I said, when I say this franchise needs to die, it's not because it's getting bad or I don't like where it's going. It's just you have
I
nowhere else
think
to
we've
go.
reached the end of the road here.
Yeah.
I think you could have, I mean, but then again, we've been here before. I think a lot of people were like, well, 3's over, and I guess that's over. 4 came back and actually it had the same things to say in a lot of, but it had a little bit of a unique twist with, Woody's arc and everything. Here we are once again with like, okay, well, here's an interesting cosmetic surface level idea with like the whole tablets invading the toy space. But it's also not really doing anything new as far as for what a Toy Story movie does. It's going over the exact same themes again, but for a 5th time. We're now in the 5th movie. And I also, again, would just tell you is, similarly with how 4 ended and now with 5, I don't know if you can do this again. I don't know if this is going to work again. In a lot of ways, I feel like a lot of people are convincing themselves that this works because, oh, what a nice story. How relevant. It so justifies its existence that it's doing a commentary on screens and tablets. To which I say, well, first of all, why is that like surface level twist more interesting to you than Toy Story 4 and Woody's like very individual journey of like allowing yourself to be happy? Why was that not? Because it wasn't cool enough, right? It wasn't cool enough. Although 4, I think, delivered on like the conclusion of what it was setting out to do with that character, and like it tied it up pretty perfectly. 5, I think, has issues with its commentary on the technology thing. I think it ends up becoming a little bit well, it is surface level, and it in some instances, I guess you could say it pulls its punches because it has to, because this is made by a Disney corporation who's very dependent on technology, brain rotting kids. So it's like not great for them to be co-sponsoring a film that would be like throwing in wholesale all those audiences, under the bus.
But I mean, even that doesn't make any sense, because the reason why Disney is so successful is because of its toy sales, though. So it's like,
yeah.
you could have hit hard on it of like, hey, let's stop, giving these kids
but they also make a
technology.
lot of money now in AI. So it's like,
That's
well, we
true.
can't discourage that
Mhm.
young mind from like being against AI. How could we, ever do such a thing? So I think ultimately the movie settles on the idea like human connection is greater than the connection of the time on tablets. And if that's, I really do hope, I'm not sure, and I'm not quite confident in how well it executes those ideas, but I think it's kind of there. And I am hopeful that the people who watch this take that away. And if that happens, then perhaps it was successful to an extent for having these ideas being communicated in front of them. Because I do feel like, as far as like content made for like children, young adults, or even just adults, how many films have there been that have confronted the subject of parents and the relationship with their children as far as technology is concerned? How many movies have actually, like mainstream films, have actually brought up that topic to the forefront? I can't think of very many. And I'm hoping that, I don't know, some people actually, walk away with some lessons in this movie. So, yeah, that already is, again, I'm not convinced that it's 100% successful, but I think it might be successful enough to where people are perhaps might be thinking about these ideas. At least I can say that whatever I think it's trying to say something. And that, at the very least, I think puts it in like good company with the other Toy Story films and away from the other Disney sequels that have just not really said much of anything at all. So there's that. And I really do love the character of Jessie. I love that we get a lot of her and a lot of her in Bullseye here. I do have to question a little bit of the emotional linchpin about like, oh, Emily named her daughter after her. I will tell you, every time I've seen it, it hits a little bit harder. So maybe because I'm flowing more with the movie that it actually. So I'm not gonna be one of these that say, oh, it was like, come on here. Part of me does feel that way.
No, yeah,
but I
felt the same way too. Watching the first time, I'm like, what the heck? Because like, it's not impossible. Like that can happen. I have a friend who named their daughter Zelda after the Legend of Zelda. There's people,
no judgments made whatsoever, by the way.
No judgments at all. I would do the same.
No.
I definitely want to give my kid like a middle name of Goku or whatever the fuck anime character I like, and Ale, she's worked at a kids dental clinic and all that, and she saw like a lot of Zuko's. I think she might have said like a Daenerys.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah. So something from your childhood can definitely like affect your future self and possibly
Daenerys.
I think
really?
I can't remember. I know that for sure people have called their kids Daenerys.
Oh my god!
But there was
wait for
sure,
the Rhaenyras.
Yeah.
Oh my god!
And so like it's not impossible, but something about
also wait. Why name your kid Daenerys after what happened with that show?
Well, that was before
Okay, but oh shit! Ooh,
yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, some people might have regretted that for sure. And then but when it comes to that scene in the movie, there was still something about it that I was just like, okay, you're really stretching it. I don't think it's that moment was a stretch. It's but it's mostly that it kept stretching. So like the fact that she wound up in that home in the first place, completely coincidental. But like, you know what? Fine, let's just roll with it. Okay, she happened to find a what is it, like a box, I don't know, just of all of her stuff, the guy of person who owned her, and then we find out that she named her kid after her, and it's just like one thing after another, where it's just you're really stretching like my limitations of like coincidental stuff happening here. And so it's just, yeah, I think that was really it for the ending for me. Maybe if I rewatch it, it'll probably hit me harder, but yeah.
I'm trying to compare. When I say like that scene was like the emotional peak or the emotional linchpin of the film. I'm trying to compare it to the other 4 movies. With the first one, it's to infinity and beyond. That's like the big, moment. Toy Story 2, When She Loved Me, that whole sequence. Toy Story 3, some people would say the trash incinerator. Yeah. Some would say Andy playing with the toys for the last time, whichever one. With 4, I think the very clear one there is Woody saying goodbye to the gang, and then that's where the movie ends. Mm-hmm. If I'm going to compare this new one, the one with Jesse and 5, to any of those other 4, I'm not sure I can get as emotional about this one as I do about the other ones, personally, right? I think they use Jessie to great effect here. I like a lot of the dynamic that she has with a lot of the new characters here and how far she'll go. And man, they really do put her through the grinder as far as like all these like hits that she's taken, Mm-hmm. But I do feel like it gives her a sense of peace. That character that I don't think that character ever really got over what happened. And I think this film kind of like closes that loop right there. It kind of completes that for her. And I mean, I guess as far as Buzz is concerned, they do get there where I guess they do end up getting married and everything, and that was like fun and everything and to go through. I do agree though that now that I'm thinking about it more, I think there was a way to rework this film to where Buzz is on the mission more with Jessie. Mm-hmm. But I think there is now where we've reached a bit of a nexus point where everything else here includes some things that work and a lot that doesn't. And I think this is the problem. In order for Buzz to be with Jessie, you can't really have Woody in the movie, and maybe he really shouldn't have been in this film.
He shouldn't have, no. And
I don't know what he really is here to contribute or offer. I even told you that when the movie ended and Bo Peep was like, so, did you help? And I'm thinking, did he?
Not really. And he shouldn't have helped. I don't know. It would have been perfectly fine if he was in the beginning, Jesse talking to him, like, hey, what do we do here? Blah, blah, blah. But then he just should have stayed out. Like, that's all it should have been. Maybe at the very least, have it work.
I could see a post-credit sequence when they come back and like if they catch up or whatever, but like mm-hmm. I'm not really. I think in a lot of ways, Woody being in the film really kind of took away from what was going on else. It just didn't seem
his story
like
was
whatever.
Done.
Yeah, his story was done, but whatever he was here to contribute with the other toys and with Buzz, it just seemed like a retread, and it didn't really offer anything new, and it didn't really push anything forward all that well. Mm-hmm. And I think it hurt the film because then it kept. Now we have like 3 separate storylines, all away from. We had Jessie, we had Woody and Buzz with the lily pad thing, and then, which I think is all really the film's biggest issue, whatever the fuck that other storyline was with Buzz Lightyears. Mm-hmm. David, you were worried about this. I was worried about this. Your thoughts?
It was just whatever. Like, there's not really much to it. They were there. they were set up from the beginning just so they can help out in the very end, and that's about it. I like the idea that they made like drones out of the Buzz Lightyears. I just kind of wished we got a better reaction to it. I didn't like when they started flying, and then what was it? No, this is flying with style or something like that. The line.
Yeah.
I was kind of hoping to be a line of like Buzz being like, "Dang, look how far we've come." You know, these things are getting better. Like he kind of like wants to show off to it. You're like, see how like cool I'm getting. You know, but yeah, they were just there. There's not really much to say about it.
Well, I would say that when they come into the third act, they're amusing and entertaining, but that's the problem. The whole reason those Buzz Lightyears are even in this movie was so that they could participate in that third act.
Mm-hmm.
But here's the issue, though. The movie opens with them, and every time it cuts back to them, it is so awkward.
Mm-hmm.
And it is such an intrusion into the flow and the pacing that it really kind of breaks the film. Because now, especially when you've already seen it and you watch it again, you're like, oh, well, I know where this goes. And this just feels like padding or filler or some leftover from some other film. And I think, to me, this is the first time a Toy Story film has ever done that, where so much of what is happening, and I mean the entirety of that particular storyline and through line, is so distracting in how it clearly is just there to be there, and not really tying in thematically whatsoever with what everything else. I mean, the movie, I think, works well enough pacing wise, and we're going from Jessie to Woody and Buzz and whatever. But when we get to those Buzz Lightyears, I'm like, I'm taken out of the movie because I'm like, what the fuck is this doing here? Why? To me, it's worse than whatever, because it kind of breaks the pacing of the film, and it makes the film look bad. Because what do you mean you couldn't think of anything better? Like, this is so distracting. This is so unnecessary that it is successful in making the whole thing seem lesser because of how lazy this comes across. Tell me you didn't feel that way.
No, yeah. It was, to me, it's just whatever, because I really just don't care about,
like, if you were to watch it again at home, I would just skip those scenes.
Yeah, you literally can. And no, well, not really, because the third act they do a lot. But it's just, they just don't add much to the story. They're just there for plot reasons, and then that's it. There's not much more to say.
Yeah, and I just think that's noticeable and distracting. That being said, not for nothing, the people who make these movies, Andrew Stanton himself, who has been writing these movies the entire time, writing and like guiding the creative force of all of the films, there's a lot of moments of individual entertainment of the highest order. Comedy of the highest order. Like, somehow they make a lot more of these films, and they still keep coming up with new scenarios and situations in which kill the audience in the best way possible. I really do think that one of the signature moments of this film is when the toys are being played with and it goes into a different style of animation. I actually quite enjoyed what it was doing there. But ultimately, one thing though, I will say, what I think more than I enjoy, as well as I enjoy with Jessie, because I mean, I really actively hated the Buzz stuff. I didn't really care what was going on with Woody and Buzz, but I really did enjoy the stuff with Jessie. And then also, we just say the Bonnie stuff worked really well too, because that's kind of like the main issue and the main thing in the movie. It's like, this is the first movie of these Toy Story films that actually has so much focus and attention to what the owner of these toys is going through. And everything involving Bonnie as far as like what she goes through and the isolation that she feels and the sadness that she feels and the bullying that she experiences and the nerves and she feels, and that cut deep.
No, yeah.
And I'm hopeful that I think it's done so well that I think it's going to resonate with people of all generations. Your thoughts?
I actually really like that too, for sure. Because before it was just, they mainly showed the toys focusing on just trying to be played with, but then you get these two movies, and the toys like focus now is more so to like get the kid out of their comfort zone in some way, help them out within life.
In some ways, they're being more parents than the parents themselves.
Yeah,
in these
basically,
last 2 films, and they were in the original 3. Is what it feels like.
For sure. And I like the idea that they were trying to get her to make friends, to hang out with others. And then I like the compromise of the lily pad with the toys. It's like, yes, the lily pad can connect her with people, especially with technology taking over nowadays. Like, they can work on that. But the toy's main focus was this the right person to connect her with? And so they, made this whole plan to get her with the right person, and it worked out in the end. So I really like that idea, for sure.
Yeah. So ultimately, to me, this is going to be one that I'm going to be like, I think, working around for quite some time. I can't say that I loved it. I can't say that I hated it. I think I would just say that I guess I liked it.
Yeah.
But it's weird that I get a movie like this, because I feel ultimately either I like it, I love it, don't care about it, or actively hate it. And this one is kind of like in between all of that. Is my thing.
Yeah. Same.
But I definitely don't understand people that say it's like in the top 3.
Yeah.
Or better than the original. Or better than 3. Like I don't, that to me just seems out of the question.
Yeah.
Completely.
Agree.
Well, David, we've hit 3 hours.
Mm-hmm.
I think it might be time to call it a night.
Yeah.
Next time we return, we're still trying to recap Spielberg films, so we could come back and do those, but we also, we're going to watch a little movie called The Odyssey.
I mean, we got The Odyssey, we got Aang, we got Spider-Man,
yes.
So there's a lot. We'll see what we get into.
Yes, there's a lot that is still up on the table, but I want to thank everybody who listened and watched. To stay under our red spotlight for more content and more, thank you, David. We will see you guys next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.